night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Nobody is coming to save you. Get up. Be your own hero.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind, coming to you live 250 miles above your imagination in the international fake station up here, keeping myself from getting tangled up in this IT nightmare that we call the greatest achievement of all mankind. Now, I got somebody backstage. I see you back there. I wasn't expecting that right off the bat, but that's okay. I was going to cover a debate tonight on MDD between Ross and McToon, and there was two other fellas there, Matthew, and apparently something happened during the pre-show where they were getting ready. Matthew had said something that was he asked something about why was there a handcuffed child in one of McToon's videos or something. It kind of looked like some Pizzagate shit, is what he said. And McToon flew off the fucking handle, refused to debate, so the debate didn't take place. And of course, McToon was live, and I went over to Real Offended, where Ross's channel. I'm going to put the link in the chat right now. If you get a chance, go over to there and subscribe and check it out. But he just, I paused it on his live stream right where he was hitting the Zoom link. So that's what we're going to look at here. And I'll bring up Cage. Cage, what's going on, my man?
Hey, Dave, thank you for having me, man. You know,
yeah.
I love that, you know, we have people out here like Dave who has like really, really great aim. You know, great aim, bro.
Great aim?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Oh, with all these people, you know.
Right.
You have good aim.
Okay. Well, thank you. Awesome. So anyway, I want to get into this before it gets too far ahead of us because we will have to stop it from time to time. But this is right where Ross from Real Offended, I guess it's going to take place on McToon's, but we'll see. So it'll be him against two. We'll see what happened with this. And this is, of course, where he was just getting the link.
Shit loud than a motherfucker. Okay, yeah, I got it. I got it, homie. Bueno.
Come on, Ross. Let's get some.
Give him right now. It's Ross. Welcome, Ross.
Who are these people? I've never seen these people before.
Buenos dias. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No audio. No audio, bro.
No.
Here we go. Yes.
Okay.
So this guy down here in the bottom in the big square, that's McToon. Okay. Big flat earth hater. This guy up here in the top right, he's a flat Earth hater. And the guy Ross over here, he was supposed to debate those two on Modern Day Debate, but the other guy, Matthew, pissed off McToon, and McToon acted like a bitch. And his response to that was really over the top. It really was, man. I watched it, and the guy had said that, and then he goes, "I'm not going to debate him for accusing me of that shit, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, he thinks the Lady Doth protests a little bit too much about that. I don't know. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, how's it going, brother?
All right. Let me get ahead of this a little bit here.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Hey, bro.
Okay. I want to start off by apologizing to you two. I just watched it back, right, and I wasn't really paying attention during the initial part of the conversation, and so I initially had said that he had just asked the question, and then I watched it back, and you were correct, and so I did want to first of all start off by apologizing. I was definitely wrong about that. You know what I mean? So I actually don't have any more other comments on it because, like I said, not even nothing, but I did want to apologize to you because I was mistaken when I said that. I was obviously just trying to keep the debate going. You know what I mean? So my bad.
I'd still like to know what's up with the handcuffed child thing. I mean, I'm not familiar with the video or anything. It's just what Matthew had said. Wasn't really any kind of an accusation. Was it in poor taste? Probably. But for McToon to go off the way he did, man, I was like, holy shit, man. That's fucking nuts, man.
Yeah, my bad.
Let's pick a thank you.
Yeah. So I thought rather than have me and Globy do it again 2-on-1, I think it's always preferred to have a 1v1. So I thought
Unless you're dealing with a guy
Globy
like
has
me,
a presentation. You have a presentation. I think the two of you should do your thing and both give your presentation and then have a discussion. What do you think?
I'm
not prepared. I only researched this half a day. But I'll do it. I guess I'll do it. Let's do it. What about
half a day?
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely. Like I said, I'm me too, and I hold myself in very high regard, so I'll still take.
I know
If
that
this
you
doesn't turn out to be what I thought it would be
Yourself
or
in high
any
regard.
good, I've got
As-
another one.
As every
There's
man
no
should.
question about that.
Because I saw one today with
And Dave,
Bob, the science guy, talking to Witsit. Oh my God. Oh, that guy needs to be just throttled. Dude,
hey,
can't
Dave.
shut the fuck up. He just talks over. It's insane. What?
Don't you think this like the shape of this and the form and that and da 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 da? It's all. This is a massive psyop.
Okay.
Do you think that or no?
No, I don't. I think that lying to people about where they are, who they are, and when they are is a reprehensible act that needs to be sorted out. Absolutely.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Okay. So, yes, there
So it
is
is
a
a
psyop
psyop.
going on against all people, and I'm breaking that away.
So you do, okay. So you yeah. Well, that's what it is, right?
Right. The current status quo is a psyop. Yes.
As a man should. I think a man
gotta
should hold himself.
You
in
got to
high
be
regard.
confident with yourself. Absolutely, be
Amen.
confident.
Amen.
Oh, let me.
Fake it till you make it. That's what I would say. Right?
All right. I was about to. Now I needed to get myself on screen, and so let me do this, and then while you two psych yourself.
Can somebody explain to me why these middle-aged men, all these Globers, want to have these young kid skater boy haircuts and shit? I'm just curious. I mean, McToon's got it. The one side of his head shaved over there. We got Simon Dan looks like he had his head squeezed in a fat
Because
one.
they're psyoped. They
I
don't
mean-
even have to. For me, I go over there. I'll shave my head. I make people shave my head. I'll shave my head like military.
Dude,
Right.
that
Oh,
fucking,
it's
that
They're
T-Jump
psyop.
character,
It's
that
all about
T-Jump
illusion
guy,
and what you're looking at.
Right.
that T-Jump guy's hair is like
Fuck.
it fucking blows my mind.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. And it's like, dude, on a young kid carrying a skateboard
Yeah,
during the summer, not
that
at
guy's
school.
like 40 or something.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like at a certain point in time, you kind of go, Yeah, I'm gonna grow up now.
Yeah,
Tough
I
luck.
mean, I mean, understand. I had a mohawk back when I was like probably 23.
Yeah, I equate it to a mental maturity level. I really do. I equate it to the mental maturity level that they're
They're
at.
like retarded children, and is it really their fault? It's like the upbringing
no.
they had, right?
No,
It-
No,
it is their fault to be woefully ignorant.
yeah, woefully, but like, they've been raised to do that, right? So it's like, am I gonna like hate the player or hate the game or not
Mhm.
hate anything and just
yeah,
go
well,
after like
you know,
what's
I
creating
do
it?
have sympathy. I do have sympathy for them because
Mhm.
of the fact that they were
It's
not
not their
taught,
fault.
like just like I was not taught to
Right.
pay attention to what was going on in society.
Well, right. Let's look at what really happened to you. They took you at a very young age when you would have rather
Yeah.
been outside playing,
Yep.
right? And they stuck you in a room and made you sit still for hours on end throughout every day of the week by law.
Brainwashed.
By
Brainwashed by law.
Yes, 100%, man. 100, man. And that's exactly what it is. And that's what we find that the entire compulsory school system actually is. It's not learning, it's learning against learning, as we found out about last night, which is, of course,
It's making you dumb. It's making you a robot.
it's the
Input,
Jesuit,
output.
it's the
And you
Jesuit
know what?
doctrine. It's the
You know what
Jesuit
cracks-
doctrine teaching
you-
against learning.
You know what cracks me up the most about it is like the way they teach it. When you actually rebel, you're actually conforming. And
Well,
they
that's-
like teach you to rebel to conform.
I don't know about that.
Well, even in there,
I don't
like,
know.
in
They kind of
masonry, for
do
example, we have
like
masons
think
around,
about
right?
like the whole punk rock movement. And
It's
stuff.
called
like,
ordo
like,
ab chao.
but which I mean, I guess this might be like the Tavistock type programming and stuff. But all the big punk rock bands are like always like super like socialist and
rebellious in nature. Yes. And of course, we look at what is the actual, if you look at it, freedom, although being free and being moral can coincide, but absolute freedom, now we're talking into the realms of doest thou wilt be the whole of the law. And that's what we find evident in the philosophy of most of these people, that it's only wrong if you get caught. Right?
yeah.
It only matters if you're directly affected by it, right?
Well, everybody's directly affected by it because we're all connected. The illusion of separation is exactly an illusion.
I
It
feel like
absolutely is. It's only an
Like, and
illusion.
it's
of separation.
And I want to say something quickly. Yeah, you can get into like the monad, for example, right? You make a point of creation, a center point, and then you can create a circle around it. And then you got the monad, you got the dyad, you got the triad, and this is what creates a form. So it's through the input, it's through you. Everything is a projection, and they play on people.
Mhm. Well, of course, and if they take the mind when it's young, they can capture it. We went over that last night. Well, yeah, it's all part of the Jesuit doctrine, man.
Globey, you want to go first? Get yourself ready. All right. So somebody had messaged me, somebody that works at a company. I'm not going to say the name. I don't want to. People are sensitive about names, and rightly so, especially with the kind of accusation we just saw there. So, but contacted me by email, said, "Hey, every year we get coupons for books through our employer, and I'd like to gift you mine." I said, "Oh, that's very kind of you." I'm like, at first, I'm like, name begins with one of the letters of the alphabet, and then continues with several more letters of the alphabet. So
let's move it up a little bit.
I have my background degree in aerospace engineering. Just general space nerd, if you want to say that.
Oh boy!
But this has become my favorite pastime over the last 3 years. It's finding flat Earth videos on TikTok and then just debunking them completely. So
nice, debunking them completely. That's you. I see
Yes.
you hold yourself in high regard as well.
Well, I do, but unfortunately, for you, science is on my side. So,
Oh, is that a fact?
Oh boy!
yes,
No.
yes.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Well, did you already say where
Can
you
I
were
say
from?
something
What city
quickly,
you live in? My bad,
Dave?
man. I don't know if I caught that.
New York.
Yeah, man. What?
Yeah, like people like arguing about like, oh, is it round? Is it flat? Da, 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 da. It to me, it's like as retarded saying it's flat as it is round. You know what I mean? It's like the same fucking thing. So,
Mm,
I
no,
don't know. You know,
not
I
at
don't want
all.
to push
Not
back
at all.
that bad
It's
on
not
it.
at all the same thing at all. It is
In a
not the
way,
same thing.
in a
Flat
way,
is
it is
not a
though.
shape. A sphere is. Okay. Flat is a condition. Level is a condition. It's not a shape.
So it's kind of like a color or like a shade. You know, kind of like, oh, it's definitely that, right?
It's not a sphere.
Mm.
Okay. It's not moving. And by all observations and tests, it is level. A level topographical plane.
I get it though. Like I get the you know where you're coming from with like you're not going to accept what people are trying to tell you it is, but now you have all these other people trying to tell you what.
What do you mean
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
going to accept what it is? I am accepting what it is.
No,
In
no,
order
I'm saying
for me
you're not going to accept it.
that,
You're not
I
going to
have
accept
to have
people's projection.
I have to have a high degree of belief against observation and scientific proof. I have to have a high degree of belief against what is physically possible. You see, and this is why it's like, no, I mean, it's break away from that. Look, this is how they've got you. This is how they imprisoned your mind. And so if I can make you believe this, I can make you believe anything.
Exactly.
Say,
So isn't it all a projection?
no, it doesn't require, listen, truth doesn't require belief.
Exactly. It's
Right.
gonna
Okay.
happen
So it
either way.
is either something or it's not. It's very Boolean. It's either a 1 or a 0. Okay. It either is a globe or it's not. And we found that it's not.
Isn't that like a paradox, a dichotomy, right? It's either left or right,
No, it's
or up or
not at
down,
all.
or
It's not at
east
all.
or west, or
If you think that, then you haven't been paying attention.
yeah, but isn't that like limiting your perception in your mind, right? It has to be one or the other.
Okay. Is this a globe, for instance, right here? This object, is this a globe? Is it a sphere? Is it?
It's a container.
Okay, but it's not a sphere, is it? And we can demonstrate and prove that it's not a sphere, right? So
Yeah, well,
when I say
it
the
does
Earth
have-
is not
yeah,
a
it just has
sphere,
then
we can demonstrate and show that it's not a sphere.
Devil's,
You know?
Well, it depends how you look at it,
Devil-
right? There is
devil's
like a
advocate.
round bottom to it and top.
That's
no,
not
devil's
a sphere. A circle is not a sphere. However,
It's a
sphere
cylinder.
is certain,
That's a cylinder.
it's still not a sphere.
Devil's advocate.
Yeah, it's not a sphere.
Could there
it's a
be
cylinder.
possibly little spheres inside of there that just broke up so perfectly that
There might be
Maybe
little
do a ball.
leprechauns in there sprinkling THC on my weed too. I
Oh,
don't
we
know.
got the ELFs
We're
over
gonna
there.
just speculate, you know. We go by what's observable, what's provable, you know, that kind of thing. And when we start delving off into fairy tale land, that's how we ended up with bending space time and dark matter and all this other fantastical nonsense.
yeah, the universe is a giant grinder.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm getting at is a shape either is the shape or it's not. Okay, you can't say, oh, well, this cube is actually a sphere.
So you're saying it's kind of about the perception and the way you look at it. It's like a multifaceted thing. So what if it's a dodecahedron, right? That has 12 faces. You can look at it different ways, and you can call whatever you want.
It's a dodecahedron. You can call it a fucking unicorn turd. I don't give a shit. It's still a dodecahedron, right?
Yeah.
20-sided object. Okay, cool.
Doesn't mean shit.
12.
What's
So
So
that?
it still doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it does. It's still
It's all a fucking projection.
okay. Well, it's a projection. Great. It's projected flat, and these fucking idiots think they're seeing something round. No, they don't. They know better.
They're just playing
very
along.
good,
I
very
swear.
good. Yeah, I'm in
These
California,
fucking
so
bastards, they're just playing
Oh.
along and fucking
you know,
with
just
people. That's all it is.
just for for the sake of knowing, I guess. But I would love to hear your presentation. I mean, as
Well, some background on you. It's only fair.
oh yeah. Oh, I mean, I didn't know if you were interested. Some people don't care.
Sure, absolutely. I
Yeah.
care.
Well, honestly, I listened to a little bit of the stream right after he left the thing, and I don't know if you were involved in the conversation, but I did hear him say that a lot of people who are on quote unquote the flat Earth side, right, are scumbags and et cetera, and or science deniers, whatever adjective you want to put to it. I want to start off by saying, of course, anybody knows that you can call me whatever you want. It's not really going to deter me. I consider myself to be a truth seeker. And
I've put Ross's link to this video in the chat. Go over there and subscribe.
Something that might
Pretty
sound
cool cat, man.
offensive. I promise I don't mean it personally. And if you tell me that, hey, that was offensive, or hey, you're being a little too loud, everybody pretty much knows that I will gladly oblige. I'll say, oh, my bad. Yes, I'm being loud, or whatever it may be. So I'm from Fresno, California. I'm really from all over California, but Fresno is my home.
You were born everywhere.
I'm a retired farmer. I guess I'm a retired farmer.
I'm a
and
farmer
an investor.
too. That's
So,
odd.
like I said, my main thing though is I'm a truth seeker. So it's interesting that you said that you thoroughly debunked a lot of the flat Earth videos. I don't really watch flat Earth videos like that, but I do watch endless hours of lectures from people who are technically globe earthers, and I do know almost for definitive fact that based on the scientific methods and what
Dave,
we know,
I'm off.
a lot of
Everybody,
the
thank
stuff
you
that
for
we
having
think
me.
we know that
Thanks
is
for
masquerading
checking
in the
in.
name of science, it's not actually following the scientific method. So while a lot of the things,
Thank you.
a lot of the things that you guys think are maybe most likely, maybe there's more evidence to point to what you're saying that doesn't follow then that it becomes a concrete scientific theory. And so I guess that's my background, and just along the lines of truth. I hope in your presentation or when you present an idea, you start pointing directly to experiments, because I have video, right? Prepared, because I thought I was going to debate against Toon in our last debate, saying you cannot have a scientific theory without experiments, right? So if you're going to claim that something is a scientific theory, you have to be able to point to the experiments, plural, right, that have corroborated the results that lead to the hypothesis that you're claiming in the scientific theory. So a lot of people, they don't follow those steps. They think, and Toon makes this mistake a lot, actually. And I was gonna play video of him making this mistake in our last debate, right? They think that we have scientific observations that automatically means that now we have a theory, and we need experiments in between there. So you being a person who you say is on science, I hope that's what you come.
We shouldn't address the moderator if you're gonna be in this
format. Well, I think Toon knows that I don't mean it personally. We like to poke at each other's ideas. You know what I mean? I'm especially when it comes to people's personal lives. I would never ever, especially if we're when we're talking about things as serious about, to me, right, science and the scientific method and the world around us, right? There's no place for serious ad hominem attacks, unless I guess it's you're trying to be funny on the curtail of an argument, then that's fine, right? But I don't believe in using logical fallacies to prove something, right? And as Toon will tell you, every time you use a lot of logical fallacies tonight, I will be calling it out. So I hope you're aware that just because something may be true, right? Just because you might have the right answer, but you have to show your work along the way. You can't have logical fallacies, or else that doesn't postulate what it is that you're concluding. So I'm very much a stickler for that, and so I hope what you're saying is true, because I would love to learn from you.
I've got a 6-minute timer. That was the amount that each of us had on modern day debate. So that's how much each of us should have about prepped. And so I'll let Globey start.
I'm going to stop my camera, but I'm still listening.
All right.
I hope you're listening, because you're speaking truth.
All right, you can share your screen.
You ain't gonna find it there. You sure as hell ain't gonna find no truth at McToon. I can guarantee it.
All right.
He's already gone?
Yeah.
Wow.
You see your whole screen there. All right.
Let's see. We got this in
I gotta tell you,
presentation.
Todd.
Yeah. Hit the,
This one right here is irritating me.
Who's that? McToon?
All of them.
All of them? Yeah, I want to see what Ross brings to the table with this guy. I've never seen Globey McGlobeface anywhere. I've seen Ross before. I've seen him, and he did a pretty decent job. And
No, Ross is all right. Like, but man, like,
yeah, I know. Talk about going into the belly of the beast, right?
this is like, yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
irritating.
that's all right. That's why I sped it up. So you don't
They're
have to
and
hear
they're
it bad.
fucking dragging it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
Oh,
appreciate you speeding it up. They're dragging that shit out like
so
so
I
long.
gotta show you guys something. This is crazy, man. If you guys haven't been over to Sean Hawkins's channel, you'll want to go and check that out.
Man, that's one thing that fucking irritates the shit out of me. Why would I go watch Sean Hawkins' channel?
Okay, I'm going to tell you what. Just don't watch him. Just go to look at his community post.
And why the fuck does he come over here?
All right, just go to his community post. And he put up this thing that was kind of serial killer today. It really was. Let me just show you it real quick. Let me go over here. And I'm going to go to... Yeah, this was cringe, man. This is some serial killer shit. I don't even really understand what the fuck he was trying to convey with this.
You got to think these people are like demented in their minds because
Okay, well, now
if they're gonna like post some like weird shit online like that, it's like that's what their true thoughts are, but they can't say it to you in person.
Okay, so he just posted this and it said possibilities, and here's some kind of a cutting implement or something. It looks like.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know, but then he put these little skulls. And then this little head. Oh, there it is. And he had this little head. But look at this. Who the fuck has hair growing on the front of their nose? Have you ever seen that before?
I've seen that one time before.
Dude.
One time before. The guy looked almost just like that.
Oh my God. It's like JoJo the dog-faced boy. I kind of zoomed in on this. I should put parental warning on it, but look at that. Look at this.
Yeah.
Run a fucking razor over that shit for Christ's sake before you take your
seriously,
picture.
like,
God
yeah, seriously.
damn,
like, are you gonna go out in public with that?
I'm like, come on. That's why people, they're not interested in what you're saying. They're trying to figure out why you have a fucking carpet on your nose, man. Now, see, when I was a little kid, you had to go to the circus to see shit like that. Yeah. Now you just go to fucking Walmart and you can see all kinds of crazy shit, man. Wow. Let me see. Yeah, I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I just had to rethink that again, man. I'm like, yeah, why would you like let that fucking shit grow, dude?
And I don't mind fucking with that guy because he's just a prick. He is. He's just a prick. He doesn't come over here for anything other than to just say fucking stupid shit. He's not interested in any kind of constructive debate, any kind of constructive conversation or anything. He's just wants to be a nasty shit. And so I don't have any qualms about making fun of him. Fuck him.
Well, what I see about like a lot of the guys that go on modern day debate, like the Glover guys, like they just go on there to just try to get attention. They're trying to get more viewers for their fucking channels and shit. Like that's all they're trying to do. It's a gimmick.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was just like, in a way I look at it, fuck him. I don't care. He's a dick. He had the opportunity to go on a moderated debate platform and he pussed out and didn't go, so fuck him,
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, plus, could he not click on the fucking link and come on here right now if he wanted to?
He could, but he won't.
Has he ever done it?
Yeah, he come up here a couple of times and he got shown to be an ass.
Oh, he has. Okay, I must have missed that.
Yeah, it was a couple of times. He rage quit, said, "Hey, there's OTW News. Derp the Fonz here with us." But yeah, then he fucking bailed out. He don't stay. Let's see. I got Natasha Jones. Good to see you, my dear. Got Jake is in here. Carrie Skates, unindoctrinated. Boggin Alseard, Mike Finnan, Jake, all these fine people here with us. ZXL Masters with us. Debo's Nation. Got a whole bunch of fine people here with us here today. Big Pine Sailing. Shit.
Let me.
Is that me or him?
No, it's him. It's Ross.
Go,
All right,
Ross.
go ahead, Globey.
Go, Ross.
Well, hold on. Ross, you need to fix. Oh my gosh. For having a real microphone there, you certainly don't know how to handle audio. It's feeding back.
Hold on.
Now batting. How come it didn't echo for me?
Come on, Ross.
Now it's echoing. It's echoing for you.
Oh, it is. All right. You ever seen a grown man naked?
You know, I wouldn't be halfway surprised if
Have you been in a
he was
Turkish
fucking
prison?
with his audio. That's how dishonest this son of a bitch is.
You ever seen a
Like in-
Gladiator movie?
Oh my gosh.
You know, it took me 20 years to figure out what a drinking problem meant.
Yeah.
He was always throwing it over his shoulder. The problem was he couldn't actually drink it.
Is that okay? Is that okay?
Holy shit,
Um,
man. That's so fucked up. That's so
Let's
fucked
let's take a fucking joke from the goddamn airplane movie from 1981.
Yeah. Yeah.
God. Holy shit, man.
What the fuck?
I think. Oh, nope. I'm still getting a
You said you're still getting feedback?
feedback from you.
You're still getting feedback, seriously.
I don't
Yeah,
hear
let me check.
anything.
I'm watching.
Oh, never
Yeah,
mind.
when I talk, your microphone thing starts going up and down.
Okay, well, could it be because I have my StreamYard open at the same time? Is that
Why do you have StreamYard open?
because I'm
Oh,
streaming?
okay.
Is that
I
might
have
be
no
that
idea.
reason?
I'm not hearing no fucking
I don't
echo.
know.
Because on my audio, on my side, the audio sounds perfect,
Yeah,
Yep.
I hear it fine.
but it doesn't sound
course
good
it
on your
does.
side.
That's right. And it's
I don't. Like I said, I got the headphone adapter this time, so I'm literally plugging it right into my board now. So, yeah, I don't. I could turn my mic
I
down.
don't
while I
have
was
enough
talking.
energy drinks for this.
here's an idea. Just mute yourself when you're not talking. Give that a shot. That we'll see. And if you mute yourself and it keeps going, then we'll know it's not you.
Yes, we're watching it from Ross's channel so that we don't have to give McToon a fucking view.
All right, he has done that. All right, go ahead, Globey.
Yeah, that's exactly why, too.
All right, so we're gonna
McToon is an
discuss
absolute asshole.
some actual
Right.
real life measurements of Earth's curvature. Okay, so what we're looking at here is reciprocal zenith angles. Now you can see in the top right here, this is what we're measuring. Now this is a representation of what would happen on a globe. You're gonna have to use your imagination about a flat Earth, but I'll go over it in a second. So what we're actually measuring, we're putting up two points, right? One's a measuring device. We use a theodolite, or some people use an auto level. The other side is a target, right? And then you take these measurements and you swap the devices and take the reading the other way to make sure everything's good. But what you're measuring is this angle here, A and B. So you're measuring the first angle and then the second angle. Now, on a flat Earth, you can picture this. Those angles should be both 90 degrees, right? If both the equipment,
And they are, but not on your cartoon. They're not on the little cartoon picture. Oh no, they're more than that.
are measured
How many times are they going to show this? What do you do? Borrow all this from Brenda? Holy shit.
and set up plumb to the Earth, both should be 90 degrees. Now, that's the hypothesis for flat Earth. The hypothesis for globe would be there would be some angle of tilt between those two points, right? As represented in this picture here on the top right. Okay. Now, when you take this measurement and then take this measurement of A and B, you would sum them together and they should equate to more than 180 degrees, right? Not doing even high level math here. 90 plus 90 is 180. That would be a flat Earth. Anything more than 180 would mean there's convexity to the area we're measuring. Okay. That's the concept behind this. Now, this is demonstrable, repeatable, and quite frankly, proves Earth's curvature. Okay. Here's one example here, and I'm showing on my screen. This is from the McDonald Observatory Radial Line Survey. And what they did here is I keep trying to point to my screen because I'm used to TikTok, but they these points here were all measured to the central point here in the center. And all those observations were recorded. Okay, so you have theodolites measuring angles to the target.
John Hawkins, look at how about a map model and measurements of your measurably flat Earth? Opinions mean nothing. Science demands evidence. You don't even have an accurate fucking map, Sean. You cockface.
In the center. This was done here. Link can be provided. This is the paper that you can read, all how they set up the measurements, how they did everything. The conclusion of that was in this presentation here, where all these sums of the angles were all greater than 180 degrees in all 6 of the measurements. Okay, now that's just one. And you can, there's endless amounts of these measurements, and you can repeat them day after day after day. This one was done by a surveyor named Jesse Kozlowski.
Cool.
Again, this is a graphical representation of what was measured.
My sound is messing up. I need you guys to let
Now,
me
the
know right away.
hypothesis here,
Right.
this was a 7,311 foot observation.
All right, let me know right away.
This was done over a lake.
If they say my mic is messing up and it's not.
Show you here. This was the observation right here, from this point to here. Now, on one side of the lake, he drove a spike into the ground at water level, because we can all agree water finds its level, right? At 60 millimeters. He did the same thing at the other side of the lake, and then he set up his equipment at the exact same height above that spike on both sides of the lake, made sure everything was level. And what you get when you look through this thing is
Told
this.
Sean to get a new gig.
Now, this target, if Earth was flat, should be lined up with that the target on the other side of the lake, right? So we're looking through the theodolite here, right? So it's not. And now we can measure this dip angle here and see if it matches with the expected angle on a globular Earth, right, of 24,901 miles circumference. Right? And what do you think we
Can
get
you pause it
when we
right
do
here,
these kind
Tom?
of calculations, right?
Yeah, man.
All right. So you were in the military, right?
Right.
You learned about the magnetic fields of the Earth and how
Right, yeah.
magnetic north is
Mhm.
different from true north.
Okay.
That is exactly what this is. Like, oh, it's so fucking ridiculous because this is like common sense stuff. Which man, if you want to get into the toroidal field stuff, it's like
Oh yeah.
that's the way that shit works. But magnetic north and true north are, they say they're like different areas, but like it's affected by the magnetic field throughout the day. And I think that's that little movement of Polaris that you
Mhm.
see. If you take the star trails, that little movement of Polaris that you see, that's like the magnetic north. There's the true north, but when you're traveling. But this guy's talking about like all these angles, but it's like these angles are actually taken from the center out from a distance and not from the outside of a fucking ball.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they do that doesn't equate out, man. And that movement of Polaris and shit that they talk about. How do they know that that's the actual star moving and not something to do with the medium that you're in? So
It could be.
I mean,
Yeah, it really
think
could
about
be.
that.
It really could. And that's what I think about that little curve in, like that it does in the center.
Right.
Like it
Well,
could be.
think about that lunar wave, even, man.
Well, yeah, and it's also
fuck
the
is going
perception
on,
of
man?
like the moon. Like the moon is transparent, and so you're obviously seeing a projection.
Hey, live music. Don't let the
It's-
door hit you in the ass on your way out, bro. If your consensus for truth is relying upon popularity, well, you're a lost individual and you're in the wrong place 100%. Because it wasn't too long ago that people thought that life could spontaneously generate out of fucking trash, that rats and mice just spontaneously generated out of trash. It was popular consensus that if you took bellows and blew smoke up a person's ass, it would revive them from a coma. So you go ahead and have fun with your consensus. I'll prefer to go with what's actually real.
Take a hurricane through a fucking junkyard and making Cadillac.
Oh, I'm sorry, live music. I didn't know you were joking. I run into too many people that say that. Friendly fire. Herd nerd. Flat Sabbath says herd nerd. That's what it sounds like. Are you all flat earthers? Yeah, we are. No, not all of us. No, not all of us. Anyway,
Well, if we go to Walter Bisland's Earth curve
it's been a
calculator,
long day.
we put in 77,330 feet target distance. We expect an angle between those two observation points of 0.0200925 degrees. Okay, that equates to 1 minute, 12 seconds of angle. That's the computed delta arc here. The observation recorded 1 minute 7 seconds.
I get it now.
So very accurate, a little less, but
So
within a margin of error.
accurate, yes. How do you explain
was
the water not being
one
in
of
the
many.
hump?
He did 6 observations that day. I'm just showing you 1 minute. Okay. Move on to another example. Main surveyor did the same thing, same setup. These are his recorded measurements. He took 5 different observations this day, and he summed the angle here. It's over 180 degrees. 180 degrees, 17.1 seconds of angle over this distance. Okay. Now, what I'm showing you here is that this is completely repeatable and demonstrable evidence of Earth's curvature. Right. Here's another one from a surveyor, very active on TikTok. His name is Baron Rutledge. Okay. He measured a 15.1 arc second deviation during his observation here, and I've linked the video here. You're free to go watch. He does lives all the time where he sets up everything, walks through step by step what he's doing, and actually shows you the whole thing live. Okay. These are repeatable experiments. He does them all the time. In this example here, we got the 15.1 or 15.2 arc seconds of deviation. So you guys always ask for curvature measurements. You say it can't be measured. There's never any measurements of curvature, but there actually are a lot of measurements of curvature. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what I'll ask you to do is please provide your.
Yeah, that's what I was wanting to get at, man. Yeah, we went to set a centrifuge, and this thing had to be within 3 degrees arc seconds.
It's a tolerance range.
The tolerance range.
Mm-hmm.
But we realized, like, we would go and level that thing, and we had this thing that leveled it within like 10,000ths of a degree.
Mm-hmm.
And we would level that motherfucker, and we would come back 2 hours later, and it would be different.
And it never matched up to 8 inches per mile squared.
It never it never matched the magnetic field, because what we realized, it's not fucking arc seconds, it's the fucking magnetic field.
Yeah.
And we finally got this specialist that like came in there and fucking checked it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that thing's all good. You don't actually have to do it like that."
Yeah.
He said that thing kind of levels itself out. You got to only be within like 10 degrees.
Yeah, I'm sure that it would.
We were like, "What the fuck?" We were like, "What the fuck?" Like, you could have told this, like, but it claims in the handbook that this thing is within 2 degrees arc seconds.
Right. Well, and also a centrifuge will level itself out.
Yeah, exactly. Because if it spins fast enough, it's gonna level itself out. And it's gonna
like
stabilize.
That's how a gyroscope works.
Yeah.
That's why if your shit's off kilter in your spin cycle on your washer, that son of a bitch will walk across the room. You know?
Yeah.
Trying to level itself out,
that.
but it can't.
I've experienced that.
Right? Because there's a clump of fucking clothes up against one.
Yeah.
Throws it off. And that's what gets me about the continuous rotation of the earth, you know. I was thinking about that, and you supposedly have all the land masses over on like one side of it, and there's a whole other side of it that doesn't have but a few scarce islands and whatnot, right?
Well, not only is it wobbling, spinning, swirling, and twirling, but it's bobbling as well.
Well, think about this. If you've ever had a tire out of balance,
Right.
The faster you spin, the faster you go, the worse the effect becomes until it can finally just shake your whole car apart if you're not careful.
Yeah.
So I'm going.
It's gonna rip up that tire most likely. Hopefully, it doesn't bend your fucking.
Yeah, and we got this
like
continuous
fucking rip off the bearing your fucking axle.
And what's keeping the fucking rotation going on? I mean, doesn't that go against Newton's fucking bullshit right there? What's giving it? What's keeping it turning? What's keeping it turning? At such a consistent rate. Our days don't ever become shorter or longer, except for our fucking with the clocks and the tilt of the sun, of course.
Yeah,
but,
and it's always them. Them fucking with the clocks, because they always do.
I mean, that's insane.
And that's been fucking me up, man. I've been really looking a little more into that recently, and man, I don't even know what.
Just to keep your occupy your mind. What's going on, Jesse? You're muted, brother. There he is.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, I heard it. Come on.
Okay, yeah, I just had to put the microphone thingy on, but I have to listen for my dog, so I can't have the headphones on right now. So I had to do it a little bit different with my speakers still on. So I'm hoping
Oh
it's not
yeah.
too much feedback. But
No, you're
I was
doing good.
just I was listening to what you guys were saying, and we interviewed Jim Lee, the climate viewer, a few days ago. And what he was talking about, he's the most scientific guy that I've ever seen about the plane farts, all the stuff that's happening in the sky. He's been
Oh yeah.
researching it for 17 years. And he's saying in those memes when they talk and they show about the canister tanks that are in planes, that are
Yeah.
doing these, plane farts, are not actually plane farts. So that's what they put in when they do test on a new plane they build. They fill them up with water, and then it puts it through a little bit of turbulence, and it makes it so that water would go side to side. Because if you got like 10 300-400-pound people on a plane at one time, and they're going to use the bathroom, you
Right.
have to be able to simulate some kind of bumps and shit. So they have these water tanks. So I was just listening to you talk about that, how when it spins, kind of like moves just the same as water would move. And if this ocean was moving the way they say that it's moving, wouldn't the whole world be like
I know, right?
if we were
Well,
spinning,
yeah.
wouldn't the ocean be like, we would all okay, hang on, like, but
I
but I don't
actually
feel
have
that.
I actually have an answer for that for the airplanes at least.
There's a gyroscope in there too, man.
No, there's these I don't know, man. Sav, you might have seen these things before. Have you seen that black foam stuff they stuff in all the like the wings and the tanks and shit that like
Yeah.
presents liquid sloshing? Because if the wings and everything was empty, then and they put fuel in them, if they went to take a turn, all the fuel would slosh to one side and throw the damn thing off. But there's this like black foam stuff they put like in all the wings and all the fuel areas.
Huh. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about that shit with the jet fuel and the amount it would take to.
Well, I'm
you know,
telling you, they
but-
do this in like the C-130s.
But like
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like
Right.
jets. I'm talking about.
Well, I can
C-130s.
tell you this: I grew up right near an airport, and at a young age, I had a really big fascination with aircraft. Okay. And I learned why sometimes when I see them up in the sky at high altitudes and shit. And it was always jets. It was always jets, small private jets that I'd see, or big airliners that sometimes they'd leave a contrail. And I remember my dad explaining to me what that was. And now, his explanation was correct. But the contrail would dissipate at about the same rate as the airplane was going. So this tail behind that plane would usually only be there for a little bit. They didn't spread out into big ass clouds. So yeah, they're definitely putting something up there, and I've witnessed them start doing it. And it's to a point now. Did you know that they're actually taking old movies and CGI or printing in the scenery, fucking chemtrails in the sky, so it looks like they've always been there? I'm not shitting you.
Oh yeah, no, I saw Little House on the Prairie. They did like episodes of that shit with chemtrails in the sky.
See, that's just nuts, because that's still syndicated. A lot of times they're not doing it with stuff that people aren't watching, but the ones like you're talking about, Little House on the Prairie, shit like that, and say, see, it's always been like that, even in the 1800s. They really want you to think that it's normal. And I forget who was pointing it out, but it only takes, 1 or 2 generations to actually change the narrative on what the official story is, what's going on there. And as we've dumbed our society down and elevated in prestige and posture these so-called scientists that are nothing more than excuse makers, that's going to be that's where they want it to go. Listen to what this guy says instead of what you're seeing. And it's the same thing with this fucking globe belief. It's this don't believe what you're seeing and experiencing. You have to believe that this stuff is going on because look here, we have some math, and it's really dumb. It really is. It sucks. And unfortunately, this is where they've got people conditioned in their mind. You know, as soon as people can get into their head that nobody's better than anybody else, get off that fucking idea. Get off that idea. Nobody is better than anybody else. No one. Okay.
All equally as important.
It is. I mean, it's like we have strong points and weak points, every one of us. What are someone else's weak points? Maybe my strong points. What are, you know, and vice versa. The thing is that when we start revering people based on an artificial status that's been placed on them, now that's one of the key elements to a brainwashing right there. That's one of the key elements. And it was done to you right off the bat when you went to school. They said, this is your teacher. She's going to make you smart. So I want you to listen to everything she says so that you can pass their test. You know, and it's like, okay, so she told me some shit. I remembered what she told me and I wrote it back down when they asked me questions about it. Does that mean I'm smart? No, because we never questioned what we were being taught in the first fucking place. And that's a problem.
Yeah, the IQ is an indoctrination test, right?
It is.
How well you remembered the indoctrination bullshit. The more you know that, the higher your IQ will be, right? Doesn't mean you're smart. It just means you're able to learn all their indoctrination bullshit really good.
Right. I mean, I think we saw that the other night. I mean, I like Joe Cool. He's a friend of mine. Yeah. But I mean, when he came on here boasting of a high IQ and use of logic, and then completely showed the opposite of that, not being able to take common sense and weave it into a thread of thought. You know,
Man,
completely missed my point when I tried to show him. Do you think they actually sent the actor from The Big Bang Theory up to the space station for a few episodes of Big Bang Theory? Do you really think that they did that? Or did they just do that with some Hollywood magic? Now, you believe that one was created with Hollywood magic because there's a laugh track and there's no NASA logo in the corner. But if I took away the laugh track and put a NASA picture down there in the corner, well, then you'd believe it 100%. Ain't that something? Especially if I accompanied with a headline like actor from Big Bang Theory goes to the ISS. It's all you have to do. People are convinced then.
Well, I like him, and he's really, really smart, but he just, just has this feeling that it's round. And so it's fascinating to watch people go back and forth on why they believe what they believe. And for this plane fart thing, the guy that we just interviewed, so he's talking about it's all the fuel additives. So that's what's that they get people focusing on canisters. They get people focusing on sprays. There's obviously they do some testing in some military planes, so people see those as well. But what they're doing is they're adding it to all the fuel. And so they're putting this stuff into the air, and it's going to create like a mini ice age is what, that may happen by them blocking out the sun. And maybe that could be why they're building the bunkers, because they keep spraying shit up there by just putting into all the fuel additives. So I think he said there's like 20 million flights per year or something. So every single time, they add a little bit of stuff in the air, it just fills up the skies with it.
Well, I know.
I don't.
Their plans are always multifaceted. They're always multifaceted, and I know that one of these is to block out the sun because the sun is directly responsible for your consciousness. You get energy from the sun. I know this for a fact, and that by blocking that out is actually keeping you out of communication with your higher self. It's just more of the same. It's just a different song and another way to add to the pile of shit. They've been doing it with frequency. They're now shielding it in the sky. They're blocking out the sun. Yeah, it's going to have an impact on agriculture, but now we're seeing places fighting back. we've had a few states here that have actually passed legislation against this fucking chemtrails and shit.
Just
I mean,
imagine with all the
it's not a conspiracy anymore. They're full-fledged admitting that they're doing it.
well, just imagine with all the chemicals, the particulates that are in the air, how easy they can make blue beams seem real.
Oh, yeah. And that's the whole thing. You know, you can take a little humidifier and put a projector up and show a movie just on a fine mist that you can't even see from 10 feet away. You can just make a little mist of coming up out of the humidifier and actually project a movie onto it. You know, you can project, look at what happens when you can do that with light. It's just more of the same shit. I think last night we covered, there was I forget what the guy's name was. He was a Jesuit and he had the magic lantern, which was basically a early slide projector. And to the common people, this thing was supernatural. You know, this was magic. And he was showing pictures of frightening demons from their folklore and shit right there on this screen. And these people were like, oh my God, you know, like it brought it to life. But they saw it as magic.
Could be vampires, man. They want to block out the sun. It makes these reptiles or vampires, you know, theory sounds much more plausible.
Right? I don't know, man. I still wonder what the fuck are they doing with all the blood, man? What are they doing with all the blood? You know, I mean,
they're making adrenochrome out of it.
You know, it could be like in that show, Blade, where those vampires all had that nightclub and they just turned on the sprinkler system and it was blood coming down on them and shit.
This
And
is what makes the vampires so much more plausible, man.
I'm thinking, man, where is all the fucking blood go, right? People donate blood all over the world, hundreds and hundreds and thousands of gallons of blood a day. This is a commodity with an expiration on it, right? We know that there's way more blood that's been donated than what's being used. So what are they doing with the expired blood that they're not using, right? Where's that going? I mean, that would require like tanker trucks of blood to dispose of.
They're selling it on the dark web.
They're drinking it, man. They go to the blood bank and they make a fucking withdrawal. That's what they're doing, bro.
They sell it to crackheads or something. I don't know.
King Charles is a vampire. You know what? I believe that. You know, that whole family is creepy as shit, man. Creepy as shit. I wonder if they have hair growing on the front of their nose. Damn.
That's why I never say that name. I just say Chuck the Turd.
Chuck the Turd. Yeah. Is that what he is? Is he King Charles or something? Or is he King something else? They calling him something else. George or some shit like that.
Chuck
I
the
don't
Turd.
know. They can't. They're like cats. They always have like 5 different fucking names. You know? Crazy.
Man, I couldn't get over talking about or listening to your dog like lap the shit out of that water bowl. I'll tell you what, that's hilarious.
Oh, yeah. They never miss a time to come in here while I'm on here and drink water. Never. But that's all right. You know, they don't understand. They're just in here with me and hey, there's the water. I think I'll have me some, you know.
I know it's kind of cute actually. It's funny. I think it's a term of endearment, not an imposance.
Oh yeah. I love these guys. There's something else.
Measurements
Anyway, let's let Ross get some shit in. We're getting way behind
of
him.
Earth being flat. Okay.
Hello,
There's one more example.
Randy.
I'll find
Good
more
to see you, my man.
I only had about 6 minutes to do this, so I put a few in. This is what flat earthers show. They'll show a picture and go, well, here's proof the earth is flat because we see further than we should. Okay. You're going to show a distorted picture with no measurements as your evidence. When clearly there's days like this when there's little distortion and you see that we are seeing exactly what's expected on.
God damn it, Peanut, shut
But
up.
my point is you guys never show measurements. Ever. It's not one measurement of flat earth. You might even show me a laser test. Great. It's another observation. Also not a measurement. Right. And clearly you can see in this FE core video that the light is actually bending. They never took refraction into proper account here. They also didn't use a collimator, which, light.
You take refraction into account. It changes daily throughout the day. I've got some time lapse of a fucking coastline that you can just watch it throughout a day, 1 24-hour period, and you see the goddamn horizon line change up and down as the different temperatures and moisture throughout the day. So I don't even know where this guy's even coming from with this crap. Anything so that it can be a globe, please.
Diverges, right? So even lasers diverge, right? A collimator keeps it from diverging.
All right,
Which is
Colby.
very important when you're trying to do a target test across a lake, but they didn't use them.
All right, we got to wrap it and hand it over to
I'm good.
Ross.
That last slide.
Awesome. All right, Ross, I'll give you more time than he had because he went over. So
Absolutely.
two more minutes. Is that good?
Oh, I don't mind at all. I
You'll
don't
have
mind.
to turn your mic back on.
It said the host is not allowing participants to unmute themselves. You have to unmute me.
Hold on. There you go.
All right. Yeah, no, I
There
don't
we-
mind.
all right,
You
now-
can take as much time as you want. Honestly, yeah, I don't mind.
Oh, wait. He said that was his last slide. So.
That was my last slide, so you're on.
Oh, my bad then.
All right.
You gotta unmute.
Go
me
to it,
again.
Ross. You can share your screen if you need.
My friend Johnny here, he says, "Oh, they're talking really fast," and I was like, "Yeah, I turned the speed up because that guy talked really fucking slow, man. I can put it back normal, or at least 1.25. Kind of get through some of this."
You gotta unmute me.
Wait, let me get a pen so I can write down.
I'm muted. Thank you. No, I muted myself back. I didn't. Sorry about it. All right. I literally prepared this whole debate to debate Tune. So it's funny that all the stuff that you brought up is not anything that's in my opener, but I'm still gonna go through my opener anyways, just because I prepared.
But it doesn't matter because
no, it's relevant to this. It's
none of his stuff is relevant to you. It's not specifically to you.
Oh, but if I had went
I
first,
had no idea who you were.
well, I know, but and neither did I. So if I had went first, though, I still would have gave my information. My information not about you. It's not about you. It's about what I mean, the subject, but it's with stuff that you said. So
All right.
here,
Hold up.
give me a second to share my screen. All right. So
Screen.
okay, so before I get
screen.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
screen.
before I get in, oh, did I share it or no?
Yeah, we see
Yes.
Oh, you see me? Okay.
This
okay.
is your
Does
icon.
Tune have that
sorry,
shitty a
okay.
fucking internet connection?
Hope there's no nudes in here.
No, I don't. I'm not Drake. Trust me.
I think
That's the
Tune's-
corniest thing
I
ever.
think
Just let me get me
Tune's
started. So my screen is seeing right. 'Cause I can't
Like
see
it's
my
real
screen
jerky.
on this thing.
We see your screen.
You can see my screen.
I see your iCloud.
You see my iCloud.
Anyways, Dave, I just came by to say hi.
Well, it says iCloud at the top there.
Okay, I went to share screen.
Was that just?
Just came by to say a quick hi.
All right.
y'all,
Thanks for showing up, bro.
checking in, and tomorrow is the Love Day, so Angeline and I at 9 p.m. Eastern are gonna do a special on the Missing Link about love.
Oh, cool. When's that? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. So
All right.
stop by and say hi if you're not busy.
All right. All right. We'll do. Let me get that real quick. Yeah, I always get notifications of your stuff anyway. So,
Yeah, man. Cool. Well, love you all. May the source be with you all, and stay flat.
right on, brother. We'll talk to you later, Jess.
Okay, bye.
So why bro got goggles on? Which bro has goggles on? Oh, that's his glasses. He's got like Urkel glasses. That's all.
Yeah, I went to window.
It's
And then I went to my notes. I'm trying to share my notes right
Yeah.
now, so it should pop up my notes.
Yep, that's what we see.
How come I
Yeah,
don't see it on my
the-
side
the-
though? Or whatever.
If you look, the top group of notes is in iCloud. There, it says all iCloud.
I need my mittens.
I'm just confused why I can't. Or is it
Yep.
because it's small? Is that what it is? It's small on the screen.
I don't know.
All right. I'm all right.
I'm-
Look, the
I
people in
can't
my
debug your
chat. Look,
problem.
my
I'm
bad.
Glad to
the
see
people in
you
my
two
chat. If you can't
flat
see my
earthers have the
screen,
same technical.
yeah, I am not a technical
problems.
guy. I promise. I'm not like I have a job.
We
Hey,
believe you.
can you guys see my? Can you guys see my my screen at all? I don't know
I'm not technical.
because I can't see
Yeah.
it, but
Yep,
I
we
can
see
see it. Whatever.
Yeah, it says notes, debates, saved video,
You see a video of me
debate
and you, right?
poker.
You see a video of me and you, right?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna play the video. Then.
Look,
Like,
you
do you think
play
somebody can
right
be a scientific
now.
theory
You
without
see it. You
experiments?
see whatever
A
that video
scientific
is.
theory without
A
experiments.
theory is backed up by experiments.
So no, so the answer is no. We agree on that. Then. All right. So then, which experiments backed up Einstein's theory of relativity? Which experiments?
Special or general?
Special.
Morley.
Backed up.
Yeah.
This has to be the greatest level of cognitive dissonance I've ever seen. Backed up. How did that back up? He basically started creating the theory because of Michelson and Morley. So how did that back up? He created the theory to get rid of the fact that Michelson and Morley was destroying their paradigm. How did that
No,
back up?
Michelson Morley did not destroy their paradigm. So let me explain things. I'll go over.
Basically, So that's what I mean. Once it's peer reviewed.
Okay, so just to clarify that, so the reason why I asked you that question, you guys can hear me, right?
What in the fuck are you whining about?
I'm muted again. Can you hear me? Yes.
What is that?
No, we hear you.
All right, my
We
bad.
hear
My
you.
bad.
It's just very choppy.
All right. I'm gonna try to talk slow.
Always with tech issues.
I'm not a tech guy. I just attend
Is
a
this a
lot of lectures.
claymation video?
I attend a lot of lectures and read a lot of books. Okay, so in that question was specific to my first point in all of the debates that I do, right? Is that if you're on the side of science, right, using Occam's razor, right, the least amount of assumptions, right, all scientific evidence shows that the Earth is not moving. Now we can pull up quote after quote after quote. If you're disagreeing with this, then you're not on the side of science. You're on the side of the religious people that want to form their idea.
Did the cat piss on it and short it on it? Somebody said their electronic litter box just stopped working. Cat pissed right on the battery.
Is into what the scientific experiments show us. Right? So Michelson and Morley was not an experiment that Einstein ran to prove his theory of relativity. No, because there was no experiment ran to prove Einstein's theory of relativity. Einstein's theory of relativity was never a scientific experiment. And without that, the Earth has never been proven to move. All right. So this is almost not deniable. And I have one more video of one of the only honest guys on your side admitting this in our after show from my debate with
So,
Leo.
and Whitsitt asked me this. He said, so when Einstein published his paper on theory of relativity, you wouldn't have accepted it was true. I was like, correct. I would not have accepted his paper was true when it was published.
I think that says a lot.
Wait,
who's
paper?
I would not have accepted Einstein's
He's an
theory of
honest guy.
relativity.
He's honest. He's honest.
I think most of us would be like that because if we value the scientific process,
Most physicists.
Come on.
If we value what? If we value the scientific process, I appreciate Ozian for being such an honest guy. The reason why is because there were no experiments that prove the theory of relativity. There was never a scientific theory. So based on the scientific method, we've never proven the Earth is moving. If you say that we have proved that the Earth is moving, then you are a science denier. Okay,
It was
this
a
is fact,
theory.
because every scientist and physicist agrees that there is no experiment that we can possibly do to prove that the Earth is moving. So if you admit that, then you're not a science denier. You're like, you know what? We can't prove the Earth is moving, although I still do believe it. You can say that, right? But you cannot say that scientific experiment has gone on into proving the Earth is moving, right? So that was my first point. Because once you accept that, then now you have to prove that the Earth is a ball, I guess, that's spinning around in one place and it's not moving, right? So we know that the cosmic microwave background shows the Earth being in the center of the universe, right? So I learned this from Lawrence Krauss because these are the people that I study. Like I said, I'm not really a flat earther. I'm a truth seeker, right? So
That's Chinese food, Raymond.
So the minute that that he started talking about theory, everything fell out the bottom of the entire debut because they had nothing else after that. That was completely the end of it. Once theory came into play as though it were fact.
Right. Well, that's the thing too, is they're taking these unproven theories and treating them as fact and then building other shit on it. You know?
Yeah. And that's
When
how
you
everybody's getting suckered into it. That's how
Right.
the schools have gotten away with it for eons.
I look at it like this, man. It's the difference between an actual Western town and a Hollywood movie set, right?
Right.
Looks good on the front, but once you look in the back, it's nothing to it. It's just a
No,
fucking
there's no upstairs or basement or nothing.
Right. It's just fake. Yeah. That's the
Yeah.
thing, because it looks convincing at first. But
Yeah.
then after you start looking into it, you're like, no way is this even a real structure, you know? That's the way I look at it, yeah.
I like to look at what the scientific evidence says and just go with that, right? So according to Lawrence Krauss, an atheist, right, who believes that the Earth is a globe, he said that according to the cosmic microwave background, the Earth looks like it's in the center of the universe, and they have not been able to reconcile that yet. So according to Occam's razor, if we're taking the least amount of assumptions, would be to go with what the data tells us and what the conclusion says. All right. So if you want to now propose some philosophy that's against Occam's razor, where we're taking on more assumptions, then that's fine. But you cannot call what you're doing scientific. Well, you can, but it would be a misnomer. By definition, it would literally be a misnomer. So when you say that Einstein's theory of relativity is a scientific theory, that's a misnomer. Ozian obviously agrees, right? And so when you throw that out, right, now you are basically releasing the floor from the house of cards that is your modern cosmology and our modern understanding of science, right? We don't have dark matter. Dark matter has been disproven, right? It like pretty much 99.999% at this point, dark matter has been disproven. So you really don't even have Einstein's theory of relativity with dark matter. So that was really the crux of really what I wanted to do. I have some other stuff on that, but like I said, I don't want to beat a dead horse because that's not even your point, right? Your point is about curvature.
You got 3 minutes left to
Cool,
start
cool.
presenting evidence.
Yeah. Well, I did present. Well, I mean, we can go back over the Michelson and Morley experiment if you want, right? Because these are real experiments that have been done in real life, right, by scientists that everybody agrees that it was a null result when they tried to prove that the Earth was moving. This is a fact, right? So, and like I said, all experimentation shows us that the Earth is not moving. So if you want to assume that it is, then you're going to have to show us or pull up an experiment that shows anything different. So I mean, I have all the experiments right here. I mean, I'm sure you're sick of me bringing up videos and stuff too. You know, like, come on now, you know I have that. So, but I want to go on to what you.
So, Kevin, you know that this debate was supposed to take place on Modern Day Debate, right?
Yeah.
But Tune got flapped and refused.
Yeah, he got DQ'd and shut down.
Yep. They hadn't even started. It was in, they were just getting shit set up. And yeah, I think his reaction was kind of over the top from what I saw. I don't know. I urge everybody to look into it themselves, not saying anything, but it falls in line with the theory I have.
So does everything else.
I mean, it falls right in line. I'm just saying, because I have to look at what's motivating these guys, really. What's really motivating these guys?
The only thing we really got to do, Dave,
what's that?
We just have to stop, look in the mirror, be thankful that we're here, and no matter what the hell goes down, never give up. Just keep right on plugging.
Yeah, you just
run through it like it was never, like it didn't exist.
Ride it till the wheels fall off, man.
I'm waiting for the militant group to go kick in the IRS.
Oh yeah, well, hang in there, buddy. There's shit heating up all over the place. Be careful what you wish for.
Well, I know.
I see tough times ahead.
Yeah, it's just
curvature, right? So let's see. Give me a quick second.
Sure.
So I would have to ask you a whole lot of questions, right, about those experiments that you showed me, because I'm not as familiar with them. But there are a lot of variables that go into scientific experiments, which is why most of them have to be done in a lab, right? There is such thing as a natural experiment that happens outside of a lab, but it doesn't necessarily lead to a scientific theory. A lot of people get confused about that. They think that if I look at a natural experiment, that means it's a scientific experiment.
That's nonsense.
Oh, are you
absolutely not?
Don't jump in yet, Lobby.
Oh, sorry.
He's got about 2 minutes left to begin presenting evidence.
Did I go this long? Man, I'm sorry, Tech.
Yeah.
Oh wow. See, and it's funny that you guys were saying that all of us are slime balls. You feel me? Like I didn't interrupt you one time. I didn't make any comments while you.
No, and see, Tune was supposed to be moderating this. There's no reason for him to have to interrupt and chime, but this is what they do. I was watching a thing earlier, and I tossed up, and I might just go ahead and go over to it because this is Tune fucking irritates the shit out of me. But it was a
you wouldn't hurt my feelings.
What was that guy? Bob the Science Guy.
Bill Nye.
No, not Bill Nye. Bob the Science Guy. This is another guy. He's out of Michigan somewhere. And he was trying to go up against Whitsitt. And the thing is what you find out, just like this fucking Tune just did right there, as soon as somebody starts to bring a point home, they got to interrupt. They're going to stop you. They're going to shut you down. Here's some other nonsense right here to distract and dissuade you away from listening to what this guy has to say. And that's what that scumbucket fucking greasy-haired son of a bitch does.
Yeah.
Right there. He tried to do that shit to me. And he does it to every fucking buddy that he talks about.
I seen him the last time I seen him with you. It was like, yeah, he was an ass.
That's why I threw him off my fucking show.
I was there.
Claim that a victory, and it wasn't. He was to demonstrate and
No, I was
prove
there. I was there,
air
man.
pressure system a gas pressure system without containment. That's what he was
Yeah.
supposed to. And he came on here and says, "Oh, look, I'm holding a column of air." And I no, you're not. You're
Mhm.
pretending you are. Your hands are
Didn't he-
displaced
wasn't
very
Wasn't
medium.
he was the guy who blew on the piece of paper.
Yeah, that was Sean.
No.
Sean he makes a flat earther every time he lifts his hairy nose up to talk. That's all. That's all.
All right. Okay.
Let's see what he's got here.
You were talking. I didn't. None of that. I let you present your
Hey,
evidence.
you
I
don't
was calm and quiet.
don't meta comment. Just keep going on presenting evidence.
I was interrupted.
I
I'm
thought
sorry.
we were done. I
I was
apologize.
interrupted. I'm sorry.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't think he was done.
Either way, are my notes still
Press
showing? Like I
time
said,
off.
on my end, I'm looking at my channel and my notes
Off
aren't
the
showing.
middle.
So I don't know if you're either being dishonest or my computer is really just
Yeah,
that
we
messed up. But
we still see
He's a
see your video there
all right,
Yeah,
cool.
he's
from
fucking
with Matters Now up there. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's see. All right, so
Look. I want you to
Um,
see something. I want you to
okay,
look.
so this is radio wave prop.
This is a middle-aged man. This is a middle-aged man. Okay. He's at least in his late 40s, early 50s.
I'd say so, yeah.
Okay. He's trying to wear some kind of fucking weird skater boy haircut.
Yeah.
All his shit back here looks like some kind of a teenager's bedroom, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
Totally.
It looks like a teenager's bedroom. And he does live
Yep.
with his mom.
Down in the basement, right?
I don't know, but this dude has obviously never grown up.
Yeah.
Obviously
He got,
never.
he got stuck in the metaverse.
No, yeah, something happened to him.
He got Elon Musk rocket back.
Or, thinking that you're trying to blend in with a certain crowd that you want to be around. I don't know.
propagation.
You got a minute left.
Radio wave propagation, right? These are experiments that have been done by the military. I have a list right here, I believe, of yes, these are the probably over 1,000 experiments that have been done showing right that radio waves go way further right than a curved surface, right? They're receiving radio waves from this city to this city, far where right, and their excuse is refraction, right? Or excuse me, they're bouncing off the ionosphere, right? But the ionosphere only blocks up to 40 to 50 megahertz, right? So all of these experiments have been done over 80. Look at all of these experiments, all of them, not one or two, 90 megahertz, 100 megahertz, right? That's what I'm saying. So, and these experiments are also done by the military with their radio wave technology. This is a little diagram showing you how, not only did they do them with radio waves, because you guys don't have an answer for that, but they did them with microwaves too. Both experiments, you don't have any excuses for those. You don't have any. There is no curvature that is seen when you shoot radio waves over the Earth. You understand what I'm saying? And their only excuse does not work over 40 or 50 megahertz. I hope that makes sense. This is done by the military. All right, this is done by the military. All the resources are right here. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, Dave, what about Skip on sideband?
What about what?
What about ultra sideband, lower sideband, and Skip?
Well, see here, yeah, and here's the thing, man. Different frequencies behave differently. You can't claim ionosphere bouncing with every fucking radio signal. It just doesn't work. Okay.
Well, I know it does with CB radios because I used to do it. I grew up doing it. My dad had a 40-foot base tower up on top of Mount Brennan in Kelso. So we had a 300-watt linear, man. We were pounding it out. We used to talk to Australia all the time.
You was using beams. Cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If they
we
were
had a ground plane and a 40-foot Starduster.
If you had them too strong where I was at, man, the FCC would crack right down on you, heavy duty.
Yeah, but back in the day, you just had to know when to go. Once you were on sideband, they weren't able to mess with you.
Right.
It was only the people from 1 to 40.
Right. What's going on with their fucking show here? Why
Microwaves are not radio waves, apparently. That's news to me.
Microwaves
all right,
are different than
Globey
radio waves.
And oh my gosh, your microphone is still.
See, he's going to pretend audio
going
problem.
on?
We got to fix the echo. Do you guys hear me echoing when I'm? Oh, you? Yeah.
You echo through Ross when you talk.
This is going to be very difficult because you're going to have to unmute and mute every time we're going back and forth. Okay.
I don't know what you're doing with your audio there, Ross, but it's a bit of a mess.
So Ross, at the time Mickelson, I don't even want to bring this subject up, but at the time Mickelson Morley was doing the experiment they were doing, did they understand the Earth was a globe moving through space? Was that an assumption they had? You got to unmute.
It says the host.
You're muted.
It says the host does not allow people.
Maybe
to
write
unmute
your answer.
themselves.
Write your answer and flash it on the screen. Like yes.
These guys are really dishonest
Yes.
motherfuckers. Hang on.
Ross, you have to unmute yourself.
You have to unmute me.
There's a
You
button
have
on
to
the screen
unmute
where
me.
you can unmute yourself.
Wow. How like I'm about to start disrespecting Tune if he doesn't unmute me. I think he's doing this. He's definitely doing this on purpose.
He is doing
He
it.
has
on
to be doing
purpose.
this on purpose.
He
Think about
is
how
doing it on purpose.
ironclad my intro was.
Fucking
Right?
percent.
Unmute me, fool.
I don't even. I got to go get my oven mitts.
Dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? Unmute me.
Hey,
you have to unmute me.
I will.
Yeah.
I will click
Chat,
the ask
chat.
to unmute
Look, I'll tell you what. I'm not even gonna do. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
button for
Chat,
you.
chat.
minute.
Tell
so
him
that you know that you
if
should.
you guys are in his chat,
There we
I gotta go
what
pump.
experiment did they run
That's-
to know that for sure before that?
That's not the question here. The question is, what were they testing for in their experiment? So at the time of the experiment, they thought incorrectly that light requires a medium to travel through, like waves, like sound waves do. You can't hear anything unless there's a medium, because the sound needs to vibrate off the particles in the medium and then hit your eardrum and all that. They thought light would act the same way. So they assumed that light would need a medium to travel through. Therefore, if the ether exists, which they assumed had to exist,
It was on the periodic table, and then removed.
because light would need to travel through a medium, they wanted to test to see if they could find that ether. So they said, if we're traveling through space, we already know we are, we're going to assume that.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna fucking go with this guy anymore. This is that whole. I was
It's
going
totally,
to do.
it's
I would
totally
do-
wrong, man. Every bit of it's wrong. It's not even worth watching because we know it's bullshit.
Because that's what I was going to say. Wits it with. That's where I'm going to find at. This was. Let me see. Because it's like these guys are so dishonest. I'm trying to get it up to where. Bob,
Well, you know what? It's like you've been going through all that crap with the whirly jig. You know, when you're trying to play a video and we're trying to run through a debate. You know, you were just like fucking relentlessly whirly jig. You know, and you can't tell me that isn't automatically on purpose. They're doing that shit deliberately. There's key trigger words that you're saying or whatever, or whatever the video's saying. You know what I mean? And it triggers on those things, and it probably just puts it into just a relentless, like over cyclic sampling rate or something, you know, like they hitch it up so it has to do the circle.
Well, that whole argument right there, it's been beat to fucking death. As far as Mickelson Morley, it's been beat to fucking death. Stop using it. Okay.
And until your hair's pulled back, you ain't moving. You know, if your hair ain't blowing, it's 14,000 or 16,000 miles an hour or whatever the hell it is. Supposedly, theoretically, fucking hair would be blowing. I don't care who you are or where you were.
Yeah, Raymond, I agree, man. And also the thing is, McToon, he's insufferable. He really is. And he gives me the fucking heebie-jeebies just to look at him. I'm serious. I can't help it. He just does. I don't even want to look at his face anymore. Real quick, though, we'll take a look at another dishonest motherfucker, is Bob the Science Guy. Okay. So this guy was on this is from Run Boston Bear, played this on, he showed this, and it was from TikTok. So he was streaming it, but it was streaming on TikTok. So this is this guy, he just dish gallops. He won't and there again, you'll see the commonality. Every time Whitsitt starts to bring it home, he'll butt in with some kind of fucking bullshit. This is their tactic.
Oh yeah, we've seen that enough. We know exactly how that bullshit goes.
Yep. That's what they do every fucking time.
That's when you stomp a mud hole on it, hit permanent mute, shut them down.
So we'll check this out for a little bit and see what happens from it. Yeah, Bob is creepy. He really is.
All right, well, let's scope out the weirdo.
Oh, it was interesting too today. If any of you watch Lucky Haskins, I happened to come across one of Professor Parks' PhD, his live streams today, and there wasn't a whole lot of people there, so he was paying attention to chat and shit. And he said, "Oh, we in the chat. We kind of got into the thing about because somebody said something about flat earthers are anti-Semites, and I said that's a made-up Marxist nonsense word, and also so is homophobe." And I just break it down, and he did, and he says, "Yeah, well, they make words for this." I try to wave it off, but anyway, he said for me to email him. He'd like to come on and talk with me. I think that would be great. He's supposed to be getting with Lucky Haskins, and he says, "Yeah, but we can't talk about those events that may or may not have happened in Europe in the 30s or 40s." And I was like, well, I have a Rumble channel, so we can go over there and talk about it all fucking day long.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll show you the clip.
I want to see that some bitch. Hell yeah.
I'll show you some testimony of survivors talking about having a nail driven down in their head and shit. And one woman said that her friend was put into a freezer, and that after they'd been frozen, they just threw her off the back of a truck and she shattered all over the road. And I was like, oh my God.
That actually doesn't happen though.
No, of course it doesn't. Otherwise, if anybody ever seen a side of frozen beef shatter,
no, not even if it was in liquid nitrogen and hit with a sledgehammer, it wouldn't do it.
It's just, come on. But some of the stories and shit that come out of that are ridiculous. And it's like, here's my thing. If you have to protect truth, what you claim to be truth, if it has to be protected with laws and censorship, then it's probably not truth. Because truth does not fear scrutiny.
No, it does not. And that's and the truth always sets itself free too, because when it comes to the surface, there's no denying it. There's no, your body knows no bounds. You can't touch it, you can't deny it, you can't alter it or dissuade it under any circumstance.
So this place, where I've got this pulled up at, this is where he'd been on here already for an hour and a half talking to this Dr. Hasselblad, who's just as insufferable. And he keeps wanting to steer it to photography. Now he thinks that the moon landing shit is legit, and he's supposedly an expert on photography. So as soon as I heard him say that he thought the photographs of the moon from the moon were legit, and that, denied that there's any kind of green screen glitches on the ISS and other fakery and their space videos and shit.
And the fact that there was no blast radius from the fucking jet. I mean, hello.
No reaction to the base that was sitting there either. You notice that thing didn't shudder. It didn't do nothing. It just sat there still. Just, this thing made out of tinfoil and curtain rods just sat there.
Yeah, exactly. Mylar fucking blankets and shower curtain.
So the one thing I do want to say, this kid Parker, he's a little bit of a prick. Anyway, this was his stream. Parker, and he's rude, I think. Because never when one of these two globe fucks are talking, right? He stays shut up. But when Whitsitt's talking, he'll keep butting in and go, "Oh, thank you for the super chat. you know, and he's getting super chats when these assholes are talking, but he's not calling them out until Witzett's calling them. Still, he's talking. So this is their biggest thing. When they don't want you to talk, when they don't want you to make your point, when they try to interrupt you, it's because they don't have anything, and they know it. They know they're being destroyed. And that's the beauty of this. So let me start this, and then I'm going to go take a pee while it's going.
I'll come in behind you.
I was going to get another cigarette too.
All right.
Claims,
Right.
claims that the wind patterns are directly in effect of the rotation of a globe.
Hey, that was fun. Looks like I finally got it. Thank you for your help, Parker.
Hey, Bob. Of course, man.
Yeah, now I see joins and stuff. I had to hit multi-guest for some reason.
So yeah,
That's how you open it up. Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, I'm new here on TikTok. I'm still learning the ropes. But you know what I do? I do actually do the measurements that Witsit wants. For example, I've measured curvature, rotation, I've tracked the ISS, and checked our orbit. So you want independent verification? Here I am, Witsit. Good to see you. How's the new baby, by the way?
He's not so new anymore. Okay, thanks for asking. So this is a simple question, right? If the pendulum is precessing because the globe is rotating,
okay,
do you agree that that can't be true if it actually changes with the eclipses and the periodicity of the sun and the moon?
No, I don't.
So how could that? Okay, so you're saying that the
first of
stuff
all,
in the
okay,
sky.
now first of all, Austin, this is characteristic number one of Einstein, and that is cherry picking. You found one report, which you probably just read the headlines of, and are ignoring everything else that Dr. H has been bringing up for the last hour. You've ignored trade winds. You've ignored hurricanes. You think that you're gonna disprove rotation because you found one article from Harvard that had a result that you didn't understand. Well, I've personally measured rotation. I haven't done the Foucault's pendulum, but I have done weight changes by latitude. And I've compared those results with people all over the world that did it at the same time. And guess which model it matches? It's 98.4%
no shit. No shit.
Spherical Earth of WGS 84. And if you want to look at my channel today, I actually present the results of all of those tests all over the world, northern and southern hemisphere.
Am I supposed to just listen to you monologue, Bob? Is that what we're
rotation of
doing
the
now?
Earth according to
Is
the
this the
current model
monologue
of the Earth.
What was that? Is the moon supposed to be tiny in comparison to what? The Earth? It's much, much smaller than the Earth. Obviously.
Know what the correlation
You're still
between
going.
flat Earth is? Zero.
Okay,
Zero.
are you done with all the posturing? Okay, so first of all, you
Don't tell me
basically
I'm posturing.
immediate
I'm throwing you out of the
interruption.
water. I'm going to give you the.
Wait, Witsit, you were quite literally interrupting him. That's completely just.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna
sat
go ahead and
quiet
give
for
you
like
the
a full
table
minute,
sheet.
though, right?
Go ahead
So-
and keep going.
I mean, I can. Do you want me to do timing, Witsit?
Well, I would just
'Cause
appreciate if they'll just show basic courtesy and not interrupt me because it's
you were interrupting him.
But I sat quiet for a minute and he made like 10 different
You
points.
sat quiet for a minute. Okay, well,
And I
so you
addressed
don't
one
want
issue.
timing. You want to do claim by claim.
I addressed
I
one issue,
think-
and that is my test of the rotation compared to the other tests of the rotation that were done at the same time by one method. That's all I talked about.
Okay, so I just want everyone to know that what does always happen is the Globers have to incessantly interrupt. So you did not just make that claim. What you said was falsely that I denied trade winds, didn't even talk about that I denied hurricanes, not true, specifically addressed it. And in fact, the entire conversation with him was him avoiding the conclusion of positive claims that he made to me and the guest before this. Then you said that I just randomly read the headline of one article that I don't understand and cherry picked it.
Yep.
When you have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh,
You've
I don't?
never read it. You've never read it. It isn't one article. It's 17 consecutive years of precise documentation of the pendulum precessing differently in accordance with the periodicity of the
Oh,
sun.
did they write
and
a
the
different
moon.
article for each of those 17 years?
It's not an article. It's a scientific paper of
Okay,
17
what's a
years of
paper?
documentation, and you can actually have access to all of the documentation, which, yes, is broken up into different papers.
Okay, so they wrote 17 different papers outlining each year and explaining it. What was their explanation for it?
Okay, so then you did just character assassinate me and make up
What is
happened.
the explanation for this change in the pendulum?
Just to clarify, you did actually lie about the situation and you haven't read it
No,
yet.
I
That's
haven't.
okay.
I'm asking you what the paper said.
I'm going to tell you, but you have to stay
for
calm.
this.
Yeah, you have to stay calm. So I know that you want me to give
I know
you
you can
their.
play the Caleb stay calm crap. Go ahead. Play his little card. Is he your
See, and he'll keep doing that. Oh yeah, your little Caleb. No, keep calm shit. Well, why don't you then? Why don't you just go the fuck on and this stream committed an anti-Semitism? You shut it down. Okay. Anti-Semitisms, yeah, like there's plural things. But he'll keep doing this. He won't fucking go. So 17 years they recorded a variation in what the pendulum did during an eclipse, right? Okay. So if that movement of the pendulum is due to the movement of the earth, then how does something happening in the sky affect it? I think that's the point first and foremost. Why is it different? That's another thing altogether. Okay. Well, let's find out. That would be the next step in that, right? But no, the fact that something that is supposed to be behaving due to the movement of the earth, the so-called Foucault's pendulum, right? So when an eclipse happens, it behaves differently. So why
it's all magnetic? It's all magnetic. It's all magnetic.
Right. So why you have to ask yourself then maybe the movement of that pendulum is not due to the Earth's rotation, but to something else.
Electromagnetic motion. You've seen those battery operated pendulums for clocks? They got them. They got them. They it's the same theory.
Kevin, your audio is horrible. Right
now.
I'm
sorry.
Yeah, you're roboting all over the place, man. When's this from? This is from. This was just the other night. Fuck. I don't know, man. 2 days ago. 2 days ago.
Flurf Daddy now? So tell me what their explanation for that change in the pendulum was.
Yeah, so I know that you want me to tell you their explanation of a paper that you haven't read and a phenomena that you haven't researched, so you can then turn around and pretend that you fully understand it and immediately absorb it as your own
tell me
belief.
what their explanation was.
Okay. They said they don't have an explanation for it and they don't know how to explain the phenomena.
Okay, and what was the magnitude of the phenomena?
It changes based on the periodicity
How
of the
much?
sun and the moon. I don't remember the exact
That's
numbers.
what magnitude means.
I don't remember the exact numbers because the numbers
Was it a
don't.
huge number? Was it big enough
It
to?
wasn't- yes.
Was it big enough to overturn our concept of Coriolis?
It was far outside the error margin and far outside of the prediction of Coriolis, which
Well,
is
how much
why
then?
I don't remember the exact percentage or numbers, but that doesn't
Oh,
really
okay.
matter. That doesn't really matter because the point is that the correlation with the sun and moon periodicity and the eclipses proves that what happens in the sky is affecting that pendulum. Now, that is not what the globe model claims. The globe model claims that it's actually the Earth underneath the pendulum that's causing the precession, right? So if the pendulum is changing during eclipses and it changes based on the cycle of the sun and the moon, that would show a relationship between the pendulum and what's in the sky, correct, Bob?
Okay, so what we're seeing here is characteristic 5 of science denial, which is an inappropriate.
Oh yeah, he's one of these assholes that's got a psychological breakdown of the flurf because I'm Bob the science guy. I'm a condescending, bald-headed prick, and I like to talk down to people and psychologically analyze them because they refute the bullshit that comes out of my mouth. Fucking prick.
Expectation of perfection from science. So he found a paper that has an anomalous finding in it that they can't really explain.
17 consecutive fucking years of recording the pendulum behaving differently during an eclipse. Really? 17 years, man. You know, I was 17 when I joined the Army. That means I went from a little tiny baby all the way to a grown man in 17 years. Is that crazy? That's not any length of time, right? That's not a good enough time for a study of any kind whatsoever. It's enough to disprove that what you say is to show that what you say is bullshit regarding Coriolis.
He can't tell me that it's enough of a change to have actually overturned our current understanding of Coriolis. It doesn't refute the rotation of hurricanes, for example, in the northern and southern hemisphere. It doesn't refute why we have to adjust artillery shells to take into account Coriolis. Doesn't explain any of that, but he found this one cherry-picked article in this one, well, it's one cherry-picked paper that somehow he thinks overturns all of that. Is that about right?
Cherry-picked paper? Really?
That's toilet paper. It's already been used.
No, I mean, but for real, I mean, think about that. That's an entire thing that's showing 17 years consecutive of the study of the eclipse having an effect on something that is supposedly being affected by Earth's magical rotation, which is such nonsense. Jesus Christ. You really got to have a belief system for this. Oh, look, it's the holy hand grenade of Antioch.
Austin?
No, of course not. So again, what you do is
Glory
you just,
holy.
after being directly rebutted, claiming that I cherry picked one article and then I pointed out it's actually 17 years of documentation. It's also been documented outside of that by Maurice Elias, a Nobel Prize winning physicist or mathematician, which I'm sure that doesn't matter somehow. I'm sure he's a quack or whatever, but it's just the actual evidence that I'm appealing to, not anyone that does it. So it's not just cherry picking one article, it's 17 consecutive years. And then they stopped doing it after the 17th year. It's not like it just stopped happening. Now, you also misrepresented
So
me.
why
and
they
claimed
stop
that
doing it?
you also misrepresented this and said that this was classification number 5 of science denial. You're so proud of your
Yep.
little list, I guess, and you're trying to force it in here, right? But you said that it was an unfounded expectation of perfection, right? But of course,
Inappropriate.
You're muted, Dave.
Do you know that they've stopped? How do you know that they've stopped?
I didn't hear it. It was muted. It was muted.
Yeah, the whole question that he had, he says, well, when did they stop? Why did they stop? Well, who the fuck said they didn't stop? Who said they did stop? Nobody says that they have stopped or anything else. And if you have an answer there, Bob, then it would be wise for you to say, well, the reason they stopped was, right? Instead of asking other motherfuckers why somebody else does something is beyond ridiculous. Oh, M-Ball, you're just fucking butthurt because they got sick of your nonsense. And
No, I didn't hear the last part of that because you went muted for like the last 30 seconds.
I just repeated everything I said.
Okay.
So it's all good. No, M-Ball, you're just butthurt because Austin doesn't want your shenanigans, bullshit, retard comments in his fucking chat. Okay? And it's not because of your intellectual superiority or any other thing like that. It's because you're stupid. And you display it at every opportunity.
Expectation of perfection is the words that I used.
Okay, but that's not what happened. I didn't claim that it had to be perfect. I said that the established and repeatable correlation between the precession and what happens in the sky, specifically the periodicity of the sun and the moon and the eclipses, shows that it is affected by what happens in the sky. I did not say, oh, because it's not perfect, blah, blah, blah. So that was also wrong. You're 0 for 2 with your little lists.
Okay, so you've had your chance to talk now. So what you're saying is that because you found this one little series.
See, I'd smack a motherfucker like that in the mouth, man. Okay, you've had your little time to talk now.
Yeah.
You know, condescending son of a bitch. I'd knock his fucking teeth out if I was in person with somebody like
He's
that.
cocky,
I
ain't he?
swear to God. Yeah. Motherfucker, don't talk to me like a goddamn child or like you're my superior. Who the fuck do you think you are?
I'd make him eat a bowl of dick.
Of anomalies, that somehow that means that our entire understanding of Coriolis is going from being on a rotating surface to something that.
Wait a second. Holodonkey said, what about black holes? What black holes? You mean that shit they made up? That shit they made up because their fucking gravity didn't work? Because they're and then they had to make that shit up, just like they had to make up dark matter, invisible boogie monsters and shit. Come on.
That's happening in the sky. That's a hell of a leap of logic, wouldn't you think, Whitsitt?
No, I would not, because the actual antecedents of the physical claim that the Earth's spin based on the angular rotation causes the precession of the pendulum must, of course, remain constant based on latitude. So that is a parameter of your claim that is required, and the evidence shows that that is not true. Therefore,
Does it change
your
the
claim is not-
function of a gyro compass, which requires a Coriolis type effect?
Okay, so we're gonna divert again.
No, it's the same process. It's the exact same process. You may not realize that, but that's how a gyro compass works. It works on the rotation of the Earth in gyroscopic precession.
But
So
okay,
it
prior
mandates
to
the
changing
rotation of the Earth, which also is required for Coriolis.
prior to changing the subject and diverting to a gyro compass, let's actually wrap up the pendulum, which is the fact that it changes with the sky. So do you agree that the pendulum must precess the same at the
No, I
same
don't.
at the same latitude?
No, I do not.
If the cause of the precession is actually a rotating globe.
No, I do not, because the rotation of the Earth has minor variations in it.
Okay, but the minor variations correlate with the periodicity of the sun, the moon, and the
Whoa, whoa, whoa. If you're going that fast and you have any variance in speed, baby, you're going to feel it. Okay? That's all there is to it. I don't care what the fuck you say. If there's variance in speed all the time, you definitely notice it.
I walk out that door and we spinning like that, it's gonna pull me.
You damn straight. Nuts.
eclipse.
They can. Why
They
wouldn't
absolutely do not. They
How do you know
absolutely
that?
do
You
not.
don't even know how much it changed the pendulum.
Please hold me in place.
The variation of the Earth's rotation is basically nil. And in fact, your
Really?
model claims that it's so small that it's hard to even measure it.
Okay, so in other words, you say it's not real, and then you change that to say that my model says it's so small it's hard to even measure it. So
I
which
never
is it?
said
Is it
it's not.
real, or is it so small that we have trouble measuring it?
No, this is bad, man. So
Jake, the debaters are in those little squares right here. And this kid's got his big stupid face up on the screen instead. And I don't know, man. I don't know. That's our future. And it's sad. There's the dogs are going to drink a shitload of water here. You got to have that.
They laughing again.
Damn.
So strongman fallacy, I never said it's not real. What I said is it doesn't correlate to the periodicity
it
of the
doesn't
sun
happen.
and the. No, I said it does not correlate to the periodicity of the sun and the moon and the eclipses. And you said, sure it does. And I said, no, it objectively does not. And of course, the actual
What affects our
deviation in the
rotational speed?
the deviation in the precession is much greater than any deviation in the alleged rotation anyway.
Okay, so what causes changes in our rotational speed?
I don't believe, of course, that the Earth is rotating. I believe that you hijacked the sky rotating around us and claim that it's an illusion.
Does that
and
change
the Earth,
weights with latitude?
it certainly can, and we can get into that.
Oh,
as
it
soon as-
does.
But it's weird because it's like, why? You know,
Tell
if
me
you have to
how
cons-
tell me how that changes centrifugal force in weights with latitude.
Yeah. But real fast, can we conclude the first point instead of every single glober avoiding the concession because it's a dishonest tactic? So can you please address the point that
Yeah,
the
I'm not going to
pendulum?
change the paradigm based on one set of minor of reports that show a minor variation until you have a better explanation of it.
Okay.
He doesn't even know. He hasn't looked at the reports. He doesn't know anything about them. See? So therefore, it doesn't exist. What a jackass. Yeah. Listen. I'm going to be having hopefully a discussion and not a debate on the 18th of this month. It's going to be in the afternoon to accommodate somebody because the other person lives in South Africa. Hopefully, though, I won't put up with this. I will not put up with a condescending fucktard. That is it. I won't. And somebody that talks down and shit like that, okay, that just makes me want to throttle the piss out of somebody. So the best thing to do when they're doing that is to just not have them in my sight. That's the way I am. I can't.
Shut 'em down quick.
Yeah, I shut them right the fuck down quick. Not even going to play. So, yeah, hopefully we'll be having a cordial discussion.
Okay, so
M-ball is, listen, Flat Sabbath, here's what you got to understand. Okay. M-ball is an irritating burr in everyone's ass. Okay. Serves no purpose other than to be an irritating burr in people's ass. Comes here with no intellectual prowess, nothing to bring to the table, and usually just says a lot of stupid shit. Okay. I can see Witsit blocking her or him or whatever from their fucking show. I'm probably going to end up doing that. And it's not because of anything. I'll tell you, it's just merely, why would I want my fucking chat blocked up with that irritating fucking shit? Right? Why? Okay. Somebody comes in here and they're reasonable and they got questions, come in, be cool, ask. You don't like it, you don't believe it, whatever. Go on the fuck down the road, right? But these people who are so pro-globe that stalk flat earth channels, mine, Flatzoids, who the fuck ever, they just go from channel to channel to channel. It's like, why do you even bother? Especially when you're as stupid as M-ball and nobody fucking listens to you anyway. I don't even understand it.
So do you agree, though, that
just
if
playing
it
a
was
fucking
actually
video
caused
game.
by the
Yeah,
precession or the rotation of a globe, the precession would remain constant based
No, I
on
don't.
latitude? Wow.
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay. So you're
Side,
a
I think the
Glober
subscription.
heretic.
Yeah, I'm not going to
Glober
sit
fan.
down and say you have somehow disproved
Sarah, thank
Coriolis
you.
based on the fact that we measure Coriolis in many, many, many different ways because you cherry picked one set of papers that you think somehow supports your claim, which of course you don't have with you right now, do you? So I can't.
So this motherfucker has no idea what a black swan is, right? He doesn't understand what the black swan fallacy. It's look, you're claiming all this shit is due to rotation of an earth. Here we're finding evidence that there's something else involved as well. It bears, if it disagrees with the consensus, then it needs investigation. Don't you agree, Bob? No, you don't, because your hope is to go up into space and fuck green chicks or something because he can't get laid on Earth. That's the reality of it, right?
And even review. what they
Yeah,
have to say.
I do actually. It's upstairs. I'll go
Go
grab
ahead,
it.
send
I'm
it
on my
right to
phone.
me.
I will as soon as I go back upstairs to my computer.
No, how about you go do it now? Because I'd like to go ahead. If you want to resolve this.
That's another thing I want to know. Who in the fuck do these people think they are? No, go get it right now. I demand. This guy's obviously used to being in charge of something or having some kind of an authority. I'll tell you what, I don't respond to people thinking they have authority very well at all.
You got
Okay.
picked on in school.
Yeah, he probably did. He's the same type of fucktard that becomes usually becomes a cop. Not saying all cops are these, but this is the type. This type right here.
Let me look at the papers.
I'm fixing a drink downstairs on my phone. I will happily send it
Oh,
to
of
you when I get
course.
back to
Okay,
the
well, send it to me and maybe.
Oh, yeah.
we'll
You were-
come back and address.
You were fixing a drink on purpose so that you wouldn't be able to readily get it immediately upon my demand. That's how these fucking assholes are.
that once I've actually had a chance to review
Okay,
the
fair
papers.
enough.
before I'm sandbagging with.
That's a fair response, right? If you had said, I
Yeah.
haven't seen that data yet, Austin. So if you can send it over to me, then I'll look at it. We can
I
discuss
tried
it.
asking you about it, but you don't know it. So let me look at it and I'll make my own assessment.
I'll see
I
if
gotta
it's
say, it is
approved or not.
wild.
Yeah, you
dirt.
gotta have a stamp.
It
on
is
it.
kind of
Yeah.
wild how much you guys like interrupt, but it's whatever. I'm saying, like, can you listen
I
to
was
what I'm
finishing
saying?
my sentence.
Can we clean the slate and be like, okay, look, let's show each other respect and actually listen to what you're saying and you listen to what
Sure.
I'm saying?
No.
Thanks. So
All
that
right,
would
so
require
here's
that
the
would require
experiment.
listening.
Here's the experiment that I did, Austin.
This guy is a complete fucking narcissist. All he wants to do is talk about his shit. I did this experiment. He doesn't offer any of it up. He doesn't show any of it or anything. He wants to tell you about it. And when we got Witzit's offering up information, well, show it to me right the fuck now or it doesn't exist. Listen, this is how retarded these people are. Okay. They'd be like, let's suppose we're cops. We go into a fucking room and there's dead body laying on the floor, right? And there's blood all over the place and shit. And you go, well, how did this happen? I'm not sure. We need to investigate this. Well, it didn't fucking happen then, right? We don't know what the murder weapon was, therefore no one was killed. Get the fuck with these people.
Calibrated weights in Michigan, and then I drove them down to Panama City Beach, Florida, on the same weight, same scale. And I measured them every 2 degrees going down, and then I recalibrated them in Panama City and drove them back up to Michigan by another route. I went down through the mountains, and I came up west of the mountains to take out any effective altitude. And then what I did was I measured the weights every 2 degrees. And I compared those weights to what is predicted using Walter Bislin's rotation centrifugal calculator. I forgot the exact name of it, but there's a link.
No, Holodaki, it really is. It is Vlad Putin. He's a good friend of mine, man. Props on what you're doing over there, bro.
Link to it in the video. And then what I did was I took those results and I combined them the results of 8 or 10 other people all over the world. And we matched it against a flat Earth, a non-rotating spherical Earth, a rotating perfectly spherical Earth, and a rotating Earth with WGS 84. Guess
I am
what they matched?
I'm assuming that you're going to claim they match the globe, of course, but I'm of course
Yeah,
not
did.
interested.
It's not a claim. They did match the globe, and they matched it to a 98.4% predictive value.
Okay, so now I'm of course not interested in your claim of the straw man fallacy of the flat Earth you supposedly compared it to and it didn't work, because we would actually expect a change in weight if
Oh,
there is.
really?
Yes, right?
Why?
Because just like with the pendulum, if the pendulum is precessing but changing with the periodicity of the sun and the moon, the eclipses, if we actually have a gyroscope and it changes, it changes the interferometry measurement changes with altitude and changes. It has a propagation rate preference of direction. It changes with equinoxes, etc. That does, of course, imply. Listen, dude. And we, of course, have the Sagnac effect that we also detect, right? Which is what the ring laser gyro detects. That actually does suggest and actually proves that we can detect the motion of the sky. So there is a spin over top of the Earth. Right? You think that it's an illusion, and actually the Earth is not moving and spinning. It just looks like that because we're spinning, and we just can't tell.
Okay, so wait a minute. Let's go ahead with your claim. And that is that your claim is that this would occur on a flat, non-rotating Earth. Your claim is nonsense because you're trying to allude to the fact that it's an equinox or there's an eclipse.
What?
Or
No,
the
you're not
sky is
listening.
rotating over our head or something.
Sorry, Holodonkey. Yes,
It wa-
I was. Man, I keep doing that. He does know who I am. We go back a long ways, back to the Cold War days. He and I were both in the KGB together. We've been on field ops together and shit. So, yeah. Shout out, Vlad. Tell him Tell him about it. Tell him about some of those exchanges we had to do in East Berlin, man. Come on. That was fucking cool.
Was not on the equinox. It wasn't on the solstice. It wasn't during an eclipse. It wasn't during a particular phase of the moon. In fact, the phases of the moon were different because it was a week apart.
Okay, I didn't claim that. I didn't claim any of that.
Dismissed out of hand.
Those are all straw man fallacies. I did not claim that it changed based on any of those things. What I actually said.
You did?
No.
You didn't?
No. What I actually
Are
said.
you having memory problems?
Wow. Listen, this guy will not let him clarify what he said. He's going to throw that straw man out there, and then he's not going to let him do it. Listen, I'm not going to watch this a whole lot longer because, you know,
they ain't getting nowhere near.
no, they're not going to get anywhere. This guy, I'm just trying to do this because I wanted to just, I'm kind of showcasing these douchebags, and this shows how desperate they are. This really does. We're showcasing how desperate these douche canoes actually are with their little tactics. I mean, at this point in time, we've already got it broken down. We know how they do it. They want to interrupt when you're coming to a point. They want to throw straw man arguments. So what you're saying is, no, that's not what I'm saying. You listen to what the fuck I'm saying instead of trying to think of what you're going to say next. And that's what they do, man. Squareheads. Absolutely.
Problems with it because not 5 minutes ago, you said that the Foucault's pendulum and blah, 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 changes with equinox, changes with solar and lunar eclipses and all of that. Now, all of a sudden, when I blow it out of the water, you didn't.
See you later, Kevin.
I got you.
Okay, so
Thanks for
you
showing
didn't.
up, brother.
You're going to interrupt me again. Watch. So you actually didn't blow it
I
out
was
of
not
the
saw
water.
that.
What you actually said was it can just be dismissed out of hand. And of course, you're straw manning what I actually said, which what I said was based on all of those other evidences, which is that the measurements of the pendulum precession, the ring laser gyros changing with altitude, changing with this celestial phenomena, shows that we can actually detect the spin of the sky on the Earth. So what I actually said was we can substantiate that we are detecting the sidereal rotation on the Earth, and it actually changes with altitude, right? Making on a stationary Earth, the sky is rotating and we can detect it. And what you then did was straw man me and claim I said that the weight changes based on these things. I didn't say that. Of course, you don't have the measurements to
Well, that's what we were addressing. So by bringing those up, you're implying that those.
So real quick, that wasn't really, I don't think, a reason to time out Elaine at all. I don't see any reason for that. I'm sorry about that, Elaine. I don't know what was going on there, but there was no reason to time that out or delete the message. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I don't know what was the issue. Not cool.
Somehow have an effect on it.
No.
Because you claim that this could happen on a flat Earth.
No,
I addressed
didn't
your
imply
claims
that.
and
No,
showed you why they're being dismissed.
Bob, can you please listen to me in good faith for once? So I did not imply that whatsoever. What I said was because of those things, we have proven that we can measure this rotation of the sky on the Earth. That would then mean that there is a detectable drift over the Earth, and that would, of course, also potentially affect things such as weight, because you would still have centrifugal force that comes from the angular momentum of that vortex motion or drift. So then you could, of course, so that proves that you cannot claim exclusivity of a spinning globe regarding
Actually, I can because of something called preponderance of evidence. All right. This is expected on a rotating sphere at the WGS 84 model. Okay. We got the exact results that you would expect from that. There are other tests of rotation that you can do as well. The Foucault pendulum you already alluded to. You have the laser ring gyro. You have the gyro compass, which does not work unless the Earth is rotating. You have the fact that my equatorial mount on my telescopes track the sun.
Scattergun.
You know, this guy isn't even moderating, Jake. He's not even moderating. He's playing some kind of fucking stupid ass video game. He's not even goddamn listening. He has no idea what's happening in this at all. I mean, holy shit. This is it. I'm sorry. I'm seeing a lot of real retards on TikTok. I mean, that seems to be the special ed. Yeah, it's special. It is special ed of
Yeah, it
social
is.
media. Absolutely.
And the stars at different rates that are based on the rotation of the Earth.
You're scattergunning.
No, I'm not
let's-
scattergunning. I'm giving you examples of how we verify
Robbie,
that
thank
the
you.
Earth is indeed rotating, and they all come back to approximately the same rotation.
Okay, now
by
this is the
approximate,
facts.
because I don't know how many decimal places you want to take it out.
These are the actual facts, right?
These
Well,
are
for
the
one, I
actual
don't.
facts, yes.
The actual facts are that when people have made highly precise weight measurements based on latitude with probably a much more sensitive scale than you had, they've shown that it actually doesn't always match the latitude prediction. This is a fact to such an extent that Ivy League schools have actually come up with theories to explain the anomalies and the inconsistencies of the change in weight at latitude. But somehow,
What
we're
is the
supposed to-
precision of my
somehow-
scale?
Time out,
Austin?
time out. I don't know.
See, right in the middle of what he's fucking talking about. What's the fucking flight velocity of an unladen African swallow? Oh,
That's why I
Okay,
said
then
probably.
why do you say that people make it with scales that are more precise than mine? What's the precision of my scale?
I said probably, but you always try to avoid the conclusion by censoring it. So of course the facts are that it does change. So unless you are
Yes,
implying that we
it
should
does.
trust unless you are implying we should trust a couple anti-flat earther YouTubers over the precise measurements of universe done with the top the top level instruments and been done many times.
Characteristic number 3 of science denial is promotion of fake experts over real experts.
had to interrupt with his little fucking thing. He keeps trying to throw his little list in there. He's a McToon. He's probably another one of these fuckers got caught with some bullshit on their computer or something. You know, I can't see it. They're too completely intellectually dishonest.
My results came back in line with actual experts in this, and it matched the findings of other people all over the world in the northern and in the southern hemisphere.
Did you just refer to yourself as the real expert and you referred to
I'm
the
referring
Ivy
to
League
fake
universities?
experts and cherry-picked information.
I see what's going on with the mods, and I'm going to go back and review shit too, because I think whatever Elaine said or whatever was not worthy of being timed out for or any other such thing. And come on, I'm very specific about this shit.
Over actual experts whose results match what I got.
You just referred to your measurements as the measurements of actual experts, and then the
I am an
Ivy
actual
League
expert, yes.
and then the Ivy League universities as
What
quote
Ivy
unquote,
League universities specifically tell me what measurements by what investigators in what paper you are referring to?
Stanford has done measurements of weight change at latitude and shown that
Yep.
they do not always correspond to latitude and there are fluctuations.
Yeah.
I don't even
Snow, thank you for the subscription.
By how much?
I don't remember, even up to like
Okay, so you cannot, unless you can tell me,
Oh.
unless you can give me these actual results that you're citing and show that those results are significant enough to tell me that a gyro compass won't work because the earth isn't rotating, because we got it wrong. I'm not interested in your cherry-picked derp.
Just because you keep on using slanderous and deflammatory language of calling me a derp or calling what I say derp and all this nonsense.
No, you're a cherry picker. What you're saying is derp. Let's get
Define cherry picking.
Cherry picking is finding a anomalous result that somehow in your mind seems to report or seems to support your opinion.
That's not what cherry picking is.
That is the exception to the overwhelming rule of
Okay,
all the
now-
other findings on the same subject.
Cherry picking is grabbing a piece of information out of context that if placed in context would actually directly contradict
Yes.
the argument or claim it was invoked to make. You guys all
Yes.
use the word cherry picking, but don't
I
even
appreciate the
use it.
subscription. Thank you so much. I mean, you kind of said pretty similar to what
See, you're going to interrupt though, right there. Hey, appreciate that. No, you were interrupting and shit. You have not even been paying fucking attention. You've been sitting there playing a goddamn Pac-Man or some shit. Probably what's that retarded game them kids are playing now where everything's two-dimensional or whatever. The fucking, what is that stupid ass game? Kids play Roblox or some shit like that. Or some kind of dumbass shit. Minecraft. Yeah, that's it. probably sitting there playing Minecraft. He ain't paying a goddamn bit of attention.
He said, I'm not gonna lie, what's it?
I know, but what I'm saying is,
Because you only listened to the first part of what he said. Heart Killing, I appreciate it. Boston, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Because the second part, he then clarified that. How do I appreciate the subscription?
no, I do agree.
So let's
I do-
go
I
ahead
do-
and go back to the fact that my results match the predictions of our hypothesis and our model. The fact that they match the predictions is very strong supporting evidence that that model is correct.
It matches the predictions of a stationary plane as
No,
well.
it does
and
not.
the reason
It's
it
tested
matches
against a stationary plane.
He won't let him fucking finish a goddamn sentence.
the reason no, you didn't. I guarantee you did not account for the measurable drift of the sidereal rotation that's been detected with interferometry. You actually outright deny facts because you're a science denier. So that isn't my problem.
Okay,
that
so
you
how do
strawman
you
the
think interferometry somehow supports your position?
Dude, I was saying that. Franz, I was saying that shit, man. I said that to my wife earlier. I was like, who the fuck names her kid Parker?
Yeah,
Right? That's like preppies and
Parker.
fucking yuppies and shit. You know? I know somebody who has a dog named Parker, but yeah, that's a preppy or a fucking like Biff and Tad and Muffy and Parker.
First I heard
Yeah,
it.
you know, those type. Oh, Biff, Tad, Muffy, Parker, would you all like to go play tennis at the club?
Yeah. Would you like to go get
Well, I've explained it 3 times, but I'll do it again. So the
Please do.
interferometry, yeah. So we used interferometry to detect sidereal rotation, right? And you guys claim,
First
oh, well,
of all,
then
before we do that, let me just clarify exactly what is sidereal rotation.
the rotation of the stars.
Okay,
And so
and
you-
what is sidereal rotation on Earth?
What?
What is the value for sidereal rotation from the Earth?
The value, like the time,
Yes,
like 23 hours, 56 minutes.
in 4 seconds.
Okay, yay.
All right, close
So-
enough. Why?
In 4 seconds, I'm Bob the Science Guy. I've got a big bald fucking head. You know, and he draws that shit on himself. He draws that shit on himself by acting that way.
He's
You know?
an older guy.
This guy. I'll show you his channel after a bit, man. If you don't know Bob the Science Guy, you're probably lucky.
I think it's
Why is a day 24 hours?
Well, no, dude, you see how you interrupted me making a point to then start asking me a bunch of questions to try to get a gotcha?
All right, so go ahead and tell me how is the sidereal day change? So we're 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4 seconds. How much does it change? How many seconds does it change? How many minutes does it change?
Another random question to try to get a gotcha and a straw man. I never claimed that it changed. So what I actually
You just said interferometry says the sidereal rate changes. So what's the range that it changes to?
I didn't say that. What I actually said was when we use interferometry, we can make measurements of interference patterns on the Earth, and it matches the sidereal rotation. What we found is that measurement actually changes as we get higher. What that means is that as we get closer to the sky, as we get closer to the sky, the drift that is being detected changes. Now, this is also impossible.
How
honestly,
much?
Up to maybe 5 to 10%, I think. It doesn't
5
actually
to 10%?
I think so, yes. And it actually
Really?
doesn't
You have
matter.
a paper? You have a citation for that?
Yes.
All right, give me that one too.
Okay, no problem.
So we got the
and I'll
pendulum
even-
and eclipses, and now you say that the sidereal rate of the sky changes by 5 to 10% as we go to what altitude?
Another straw man fallacy. And you said the straw man, and then I corrected and said, no, I'm not saying that the sidereal rotation changes at all. What I'm saying is that interferometry measurements change when you increase altitude. You guys claim that the reason that there's an
You
interference
said
pattern.
interferometry measurements of the sidereal rate change, and I asked you how much, and you said 5 to 10%.
Okay,
So
so
I
if you
want to
keep
see the
interrupting me, it
paper
doesn't
where you
make you
got that
right.
from.
You know, like if LeBron is on you, but you tackle him, you didn't beat LeBron, dude. So the problem is that the measurement shouldn't change with altitude.
Yes.
Peaceful, I appreciate the subscription.
Yeah, that's
shouldn't
just
change
change
without-
playing chess to what's it. Don't
Look,
go there. You're better
can Can you answer this question? Do you agree that the interferometry measurements and the interference pattern, if it is caused by the rotation of a globe, should remain consistent at latitude and not change with altitude?
It's an order of magnitude. All right. It's an amount of magnitude. I would have to see your paper. Now, if you have a 1 part in a million change, I would find that interesting, but I wouldn't really change my opinion on sidereal rate. Sidereal rate is sidereal rate.
Okay, well, this is simple physics. So if the Earth is
Simple
rotating,
physics. Okay.
yes, if
What
the
are the
Earth
three
is,
laws of motion, Whitsitt?
dude,
in order?
you notice how you start spiraling. So you're like, dude, let me ask Austin questions and see if I can get a gotcha, so I can convince everyone he's stupid. or
Econo,
something.
I appreciate the subscription.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not going to work. You're trying to deflect away because you don't know the answer to this, and please just show good faith. So if the Earth is a spinning globe, the interference pattern, which is what you guys claim the ring laser gyro is measuring, the spin of the Earth based on the interference pattern, it's called the Sagnac effect. If that's actually true, and it's because the Earth's a globe that rotates, then if you're wherever latitude you're at, that's going to remain the same. You're going to get the interference pattern based on latitude. What has been proven with over 5.
Elaine is not in any kind of jail or anything. She should be free to be able to chat because I just looked and she's not blocked or anything. So let me just make double sure there's nothing on here. I know there's no banned guests on this either. So she might have got mad and left. I don't blame her. That wasn't anything to time her out for. I'm not happy about that.
5 million measurements is that if you actually increase altitude, that measurement changes even at the same latitude. So do you
Okay,
agree
so Austin,
that's
first
impossible?
of all, you haven't provided any proof
I'll tell you after.
that even occurs. And second of
John, I
all,
appreciate the subscription.
if it does occur, you haven't provided any indication of what the amount of change is. So until you present that, I'm not going to weigh in
Jamie, I
on it
appreciate
one way or the other. I will go with what the science says.
Okay, so it shouldn't change at all, right? So if it consistently changes in proportion to altitude, that refutes the claim it's because of a spinning globe. It doesn't matter how
It does
much
not
it changes.
refute the claim that it's a spinning globe. It means perhaps that there is something going on that we're not taking into account for and requires further information. It does not refute anything.
Oh, so you can just baselessly appeal to the possibility that there's something else. Like this is your new dark matter. I promise something else is there because it has to be because I have a belief. Is that your argument?
No, it's not a belief. We understand our rotation and we measure our rotation. I've personally done it.
No, you measure
And it's
weight
verified. The
change.
fact that a gyro compass works on the Earth is proof of rotation alone.
Okay, so I'm going to name the papers. A dynamic
No,
and
I'm not. You're not
substantive
going to name the
cosmological.
papers. You're going to send me a link to them so that I can sit down and review them.
And I'll decide whether they're valid or not, for I am Bob, the science guy. And my shit smells like roses, unlike you, peasant.
I will happily send you.
Starstruck, I
the PDF.
appreciate the $5 in Cash App.
They
Yeah.
are PDFs, of course. They're not.
Yeah,
links,
you're not
and I
gonna be doing a QE where you sit down and flash gravity is not a force, Sanford University, and then move on quickly. You're gonna actually provide the links, and I will review the papers, and then we'll
Yes.
come back and talk about them.
Okay, so I'm going to name the papers. So if
I'm not
anyone
gonna
wants
have you name the papers because I'm not gonna write them down. You're gonna send me the links.
Well, let him name the fucking papers, and maybe the folks at home would like to know what they are so that they can use Bob, your favorite search engine, Google, to look them up. You pompous ass.
Okay, so observation during 2004 of periodic fringe shifts in an adielectromic stationary Michelson-Morley experiment. We also have the generalized Sagnac effect by Wang. That was Munera. We have James Dimio, dynamic and substantive cosmological ether. Yuri Galev, which are very interesting. He showed that it
Okay,
changes
so this
without-
is just name dropping. He's naming scientific papers or what he claims to be scientific papers without actually providing.
Are you writing it down, Bob, so you can Google it and go look and see if they meet your approval of academic standards? You fucking dweeb.
Where do
So
you want me to send? Where do you want me to
they're
send them, Bob?
ignored if you
Bob,
don't
where do you
provide the links.
where do you want me to send them, Bob?
But they're going to be ignored unless you provide the links.
Okay, where do you want me to
So-
send them? Where do you want me to send them to you in Discord?
Yeah, well, you can
Okay,
send
cool.
them to me in Discord. You can send them to me here, wherever you want.
I'll send them to you on Discord.
You
Okay.
might even have my email. I don't know.
Oh, of course I do.
If you want it, I'll be happy to provide it to you.
You probably emailed me, but this is it's just we can
Yeah.
move on. It's dude, you understand? I'm trying to be good faith, right? So like with the first one, you were like, well, dude, I've never
That's
seen
it,
those
you're
papers.
never in good faith, but I know you, so we're gonna sit down and we're
So he's got to interrupt every fucking time. I can't take much of that.
gonna do the best we can here. You're intellectually dishonest.
But I'm being very intellectually honest by saying, well, of course, it's unreasonable to expect you to just know the answers to information that you haven't seen yet. So that isn't in any. That's nothing but good faith, right? You're actually trying to get
That's fine.
gotchas because you claimed you made measurements with a scale that I've never seen. Don't know any of the details. I'm supposed to immediately
The
answer.
detail,
and
I
I-
appreciate the
They're
subscription.
published. I published them.
okay, these papers are published.
Okay, but I have physically published these things and I did the tests myself. I
Okay.
know them.
So your shit supersedes and out validates every other published paper and shit. Then see, this is why I get these fucking idiots that get caught up in their little published papers and their bullshit. You know, fucking stick to what you can goddamn prove, man, for real.
Okay, these people have physically published them, and I know them.
And you're not there. You're not them. I'm
That
them.
doesn't matter.
I'm the one that did the test.
Are you
And
claiming that we can't
I
invoke
have
evidence
pub-
unless
I
we
published my
personally do it?
results right here on TikTok.
Are you saying
Matter
we
of
can't
fact, it was
invoke?
my
Genetic
video today was the
fallacy
last
right
of the series.
I get you're trying to push your social media, dude. No one cares. Are you
I don't need
saying
to push
one
my social
cares.
media.
okay? So are you saying that we can't invoke evidence unless we personally do it?
I'm sorry. No, I didn't say that at all.
Okay, so
That's a-
then
that's a
So, dude, later on in this, I was watching, he'll come up here pretty soon. He says, so if I take, I'll maybe take you and your wife out for dinner and shit. And he says, no, man, I don't want to hang out with you. He's like, fuck you.
flat earth trick.
so that was just an irrelevant point that you made. Then so anyway, my
No,
point
the
is
fact that I can speak for this particular experiment, I can do because I did it.
okay, fair enough. And the fact that I can speak about these particular experiments is
Right,
because I've
okay.
researched them, and I'm saying it's of course
Right there.
if you haven't researched them, that's fine. I will send them to you. Right?
All right,
I'm
I'll have a
asking
look
if
at
you
them.
would at least.
I will have a
It
look
would
at
be
them in
cool.
good faith, and we'll talk about it the next time if Parker has his back.
Okay, so just to recap, you're saying you're not really sure if you can explain the pendulum changing based on the periodicity of the sun and the moon and the eclipses, but you'll have to look at them. I'm saying this, I'm expecting you to keep your
Actually
word
see the
because
data and be able to evaluate the data. I'm not going
Right,
to sit
but-
down and make an opinion one way or the other based on something.
okay, but do you also acknowledge that even according to relativity, Einstein said you must acknowledge the validity and the Machian principle that there would be a translation of motion from the sky.
I don't talk to flat earthers about relativity.
Okay, but that's
I don't talk to flat earthers about relativity. Why?
what your model claims.
No, I don't discuss relativity with flat earthers.
So you're saying that you can't defend your model with flat earthers.
I'm not going to discuss relativity with people that struggle with the basic concept of gravity and the laws of motion. No.
You just diverted to an add-on, right? So like, and I'm poisoning the well. It's all good. So anyway, the point is that, of course, if you use everyone uses their brain here logically, if the Earth is spinning, causing the pendulum and causing the ring laser gyro, then that means it's going to stay the same at latitude because you're at the same latitude line on a globe, right? So you have a certain angle to that globe, and that causes a certain deviation, right? But
Right.
it shouldn't change as you get higher because you're still at that same angle to a globe. Just to make sure, in layman terms, that everyone gets it. So, but what actually happens, and it's pretty cool. It's that when you go higher in the sky, actually
Reading that. I will review the papers and we'll discuss that when I've had a chance to review the papers.
that you detect the rotation more and more and more, which is impossible on the globe. And then also, just real fast, that same interferometry technology is what Michelson-Morley was. And that actually refuted the claim that the Earth orbits around the sun. It required the globe model
No,
to
it
throw out
did not.
Newtonian.
And that is a common argument in the flat earth. It's a misconception of Michelson-Morley. They were not testing for the orbit of the earth around the sun. That was a known. That was a given. They were
They
testing
assumed-
for the effects of the orbit of the Earth around the sun on the ether, which I might add, the luminiferous ether is nothing more than a construct of a man's mind, just as Einstein's space-time was. It was designed to try and explain something, and when it was tested,
You're
it
right,
failed.
Locksmart.
Einstein passed.
Okay, so it wasn't trying to detect the effect of the orbit of the Earth on the ether. What it was doing was trying to
Attempting to detect the orbit of the Earth on the east ether. It was attempting to detect the effect of the Earth's known orbit on the ether. And I have verified the fact that we are indeed in orbit.
what they were trying to do.
I have verified that we are indeed in orbit. This guy is more delusional than most of them. I gotta say, this guy, I don't even know where he comes up with his shit. This guy's in Michigan. I have to think that he's been drinking the Flint water. I think he's been drinking Flint water, man.
Is see if there was a change in the velocity of light in the relation to the assumed orbit of the Earth through the assumed ether. Now,
No,
what
that
happened-
is a misconception.
Well, that's what Edward Morley
It
said
was
in his
a
own
test.
words.
No, then you read the words wrong.
What?
it
He
was a
literally
test-
said, "We are doing a test with
Witsit,
the
let me
objective." You're just
Answer.
lying.
Come on, Witsit, let me answer.
Just lying.
They were testing the speed of light, assuming that it was being carried by the ether. And because the Earth is rotating or is orbiting around the sun, that orbit should have had an effect on the ether and the speed of light in different directions. That's what they were testing for. They were not testing for orbit.
Dude, you
They were
literally
testing
just
for
said the
effects
same thing
of the
I
speed
said.
of light on orbit.
You literally just said exactly what I said, which was that they were trying to test for the change in the velocity of light in relation to the orbit through the ether. You said that's not what they did, and then repeated the same thing but less accurately. So anyway, I want to make a point, dude. It's very simple, right? That you can't just throw the ether out with MMX. That's not what happened. They didn't just say, "Oh, well, we disproved the ether," and then kept it pushing. They had to also replace Newtonian mechanics. Okay? You had to change your entire model to keep the orbit of the Earth. You're aware of this, right?
No, we didn't have to change our entire model to keep.
Oh, the fuck you didn't. Real quick, I just want to let everybody know this is over on Run Boston Bears channel. Go over there and give him a sub, you know, hit a thumbs up, watch the entire video. At the beginning that he's got on Dr. Hasselblad, and that guy was insufferable too. So if you'd like some torture, you can go over there and watch these guys, because it's sort of like they just swapped one obnoxious boob for another, is basically what they did.
The orbit of the Earth. We changed, what we did was we expanded on the model that we had and looked at it in a different way to account for the precession of Mercury. We had an error with Newtonian mechanics of 44 microseconds per century in the precession of Mercury.
Subscription.
Of course, that's just not true. So the reason
What?
that Einstein,
What do you mean it's not
Einstein
true?
that isn't the only reason that he came up with relativity was because of the perihelion shift of Mercury. That was, of course, observed 40 years before relativity. That's even
Correct.
long before. That's long before Michelson-Morley.
Yeah, but
Michelson,
that was what the end result of Einstein was, is that
Oh
we
my
had a
God.
better understanding.
okay, that's not what you
of how
said. You said that's
gravity
why
works.
he made it.
No, it's not specifically why he made it. They spent 20 years after Michelson-Morley trying to figure out eddy currents in the ether and all sorts of other things. And then finally, Einstein came up with the correct interpretation some 30 years after the experiment was.
Okay, so what happened was they had to replace Newtonian mechanics with Einsteinian mechanics.
They did
to
not
explain-
replace Newtonian mechanics.
You
Newtonian
interrupt.
mechanics are within Einsteinian relativity.
They are patently different claims in terms
No,
of physics.
they are not.
Okay, one
They have the
says
exact same predictive results under the same circumstances.
Subscription.
no, they don't. One makes a different prediction for Mercury's perihelion shift. You just said that, which means they don't.
44 microseconds per century, yes.
Okay, so then they aren't exactly the
however,
same.
it doesn't
Okay, cool.
change satellites in orbit. It doesn't change artillery shells. It doesn't change Newtonian mechanics being used to design bridges. Anything that is not approaching the speed of light or is not extremely massive, such as Mercury being next to the massive sun,
I've already said this.
does
I've
not
already said your
require
script.
relativistic corrections.
I've
Now,
already
there
s-
are certain things that do, such as the timing signals from GPS satellites.
Okay.
Those require some relativistic corrections.
Cool.
But putting that
Now, can I re-
satellite into orbit is Newtonian.
Okay, that's what's up. So that's a diversion. We're not. Oh, you're gonna say something, Parker?
No, I
Oh,
wasn't
my
going to
bad.
say anything.
So yeah, that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about satellites right now. What we're talking about is how even Einstein, in his own words, said that he came across the strange results of Michelson-Morley, and that was the quote first path which led me to the theory of relativity. So the reason is the
I
reason
don't disagree
is
with that.
okay, but the reason is because Newtonian mechanics says that an object in a straight path will continue in a straight path unless an external force acts upon it. And if that
Which
was
is
true,
the law of motion, number what?
I don't remember. If that's true,
It's number one.
if that's true, then that means that you would be able to detect the orbit because that means a force is acting on it and it's going in a curved path. So then the interferometry would measure it. That's not what happened. So we had to
They
change
weren't
it.
measuring the orbit. That was a given.
Dude, yes, but if the orbit was doing the orbit based on Newtonian mechanics, it would have been detected with the interferometer, which is why Einstein said in his own
No,
words,
it would not have been. Jesus, you don't know what this experiment even involved.
All right,
It
let's
had
see if you
nothing to
can-
do with the orbit of detecting the orbit of the Earth. It had to do with detecting the speed of light as the Earth orbited through the ether. And
How
it
did
was
they
the
get their
effective
prediction?
ether they were looking for, not the orbit of the Earth.
really, how did they get their prediction of the fringe shift?
Well, they knew the orbital speed of the Earth.
So they had to use the orbit to predict the outcome of the experiment?
Correct.
Oh, so then they were trying to get a measurement that was directly related to the
They
orbit.
weren't measuring the orbit. They knew the orbit. They
Right,
knew
they
the orbit.
assumed-
They were looking for the effect of the orbit on the ether.
No, on light. So this is simple, right? Let's see if you can answer this question because you
Through,
wait.
through the
Bob, please stop doing that. Okay, so it's very simple. I'm asking you a simple question so we can get through this without it taking forever. Okay, do you think that Michelson-Morley disproved the ether?
Yes.
Okay, do you think that from your heliocentric model paradigm that the only thing you need to do to explain Michelson-Morley is to get rid of the ether?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate why that's incorrect. Do you
Okay,
know
go
what
right
the
ahead.
Sagnac? Do you know what the Sagnac effect is?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Okay, so do you agree that we can detect an object moving in a curved path with interferometry, which is the Sagnac effect?
Nat, thank you.
That's the function of a laser ring gyro.
So you agree then that your model requires you acknowledge that you can use interferometry to detect an object moving in a curved path.
Yep.
Okay, can you do this without an ether?
Yes.
Right, you have to, right? Because your model says there is no ether and that we do it, right?
Yeah. I mean, we do it all the time.
Right. So then interferometry will detect an object moving in a curved path without an ether. Okay. That means that if you throw the ether out, when you look at Michelson-Morley, you still have to explain why the interferometry did not detect the Earth moving in a curved path around the sun, right, Bob?
How do you know it didn't?
Because there was a predicted value of what that orbit would have given you, which was 30
Yeah, we
kilometers
knew
a
the
second.
orbit. We weren't detecting the orbit. We don't detect orbits of the Earth with laser ring gyros. We detect the rotation of the Earth with them, but we don't detect our orbit in.
But both of those movements, orbit and rotation, would be incorporated into the effect. So this guy's talking out of his ass.
Around the sun with a laser ring
Hmm.
gyro. We use other means to do that, and I've actually done a few of them.
Okay, but you just now conceded that an interferometer would detect an object moving in a curved path without an ether, which means
Okay.
that that means the interferometer should have detected the Earth, an object moving in a curved path, even
Okay.
if you throw out the ether.
Okay,
You then
so
said, how do you know
much
it?
does
How
the-
do you,
All right, so let's go ahead and do this logically. The Earth is rotating at 15 degrees. hour. What is the rotational speed around the sun of our planet as a whole?
30 kilometers a second.
And how many degrees is that?
I don't know. It doesn't.
Why don't you know how many degrees that is? How many degrees are in a circle, Whitsitt?
You guys claim that there isn't a
No,
curved path.
stop.
There's no
Stop.
degrees.
Answer the question that I gave you. How many degrees are in a circle?
Dude, 360,
Okay, how many
but I'm
days
not
are in
going
a
to
year?
put Bob, this is what you're doing.
How many
as soon as
days
you
are
get
in
to
a
where
year,
you're
Whitsitt?
as soon as you get to where you're being disproven, you
I'm not being
divert to this
disproven.
weird.
How many days are
you
in a
divert-
year?
You divert to this
365. So that means that our orbit around the sun is on the order of 1 degree per day. What's the sensitivity of Michelson-Morley's equipment?
Okay, so you divert
What
to this
is the
weird game where you start.
sensitivity of Michelson-Morley's equipment? Could they detect?
Who is the manufacturer? Fuck this guy.
A 1 degree
Killerman, thank you for the subscription.
Yes,
in our
according to
orbit?
Einstein, even it
No,
was
did
over 10
Michelson-
times.
Could Michelson-Morley detect
Dude,
a 1
you think
degree
that you win a
shift in our
debate if
orbit
you censor the other person, Bob?
using
Is that what you think?
interferometry in 1885 or whenever he did it?
I can ask you a question. Do you think that if you just don't let the other person say something, that somehow you win?
Oh, no, I've already won. I won when I signed in. But
Okay, you didn't answer my question.
I wanted to make that point, and you kept trying to interrupt the point, and I wasn't allowing you to interrupt, which is your usual technique.
Okay, now what's
You
actually
did it with
happening?
Dr. H. You're not going to do it with me.
What's actually happening is I'm trying to calmly respond to you and you're interrupting me. So please stop. So now what is actually happening here is that the interferometer was over 10 times more sensitive than it needed to be to detect the orbit of the Earth, which is supposedly 30 kilometers a second. That's
They
why
weren't
Einstein
detecting the orbit of the Earth. They weren't trying to.
Einstein said that it should have been decisive and shown friendship based on the displacement of the orbit of the Earth, and that we should have been able to detect it, which is why he
I can
then
detect
uses.
the orbit of the Earth with $100 worth of equipment.
Wait, you're changing the subject. So
No,
you
I
said that
have detected the orbit of the Earth with $100 worth of equipment.
you claimed they weren't.
It is designed to do that. It's not designed to detect the speed of light.
You claimed that they weren't trying to detect the orbit, but even
No,
in
they
Einstein,
were not.
even in Einstein's own words, he said, after seeing the results of Michelson-Morley, I've come to the conclusion that no optical experiment, which means light, because interferometry uses light, Michelson-Morley used light.
Oh, okay. So you agree with Einstein. Excellent. That Michelson-Morley couldn't have detected the movement of Earth.
Wow. Oh, so you didn't so desperate for something.
I didn't detect the movement of Earth with light.
Okay, wait. So he said, I've come to the conclusion after looking at Michelson-Morley that no optical experiment can detect the motion of the Earth, even though it moves around the sun.
Okay,
So,
great. So you agree with Einstein that Michelson-Morley could not have detected the orbit of the Earth. I have detected the orbit of Earth, and I did not use an optical device to do it.
but the point is that you claim they weren't trying to, but actually
No,
what
they
happened?
weren't.
They thought that they were going to detect the motion of the Earth of 30 kilometers a second with the fringe
No.
shift, and then they didn't get the fringe shift like they thought. So
No.
then, okay, in the Sagnac effect, are you detecting the motion of an object? Yes or no?
Yeah.
You're detecting rotation, yes.
Okay, so
And
the
you're detecting speed of light in specifically in their experiment, they were detecting the speed of light.
okay, so you're saying that the fringe shift detects the motion,
Well, it detects the phase of the light is what it does.
and it helps you detect the motion, right?
It detects the speed, it detects the wavelengths of light coming through a medium. It was designed to do that. It was designed to detect interference patterns. And if light was being transmitted via a medium such as ether, because of the motion of the Earth, light in one direction would have a different wavelength, a different phase than the other, than 190 degrees to it, which is what they set up.
Duh. So does the Sagnac effect detect the motion of Earth? Yes or no?
It can detect the rotation of Earth, yes.
Okay, so then you can use interferometry to detect the motion of Earth.
Rotation, not the
Okay.
motion through orbit.
Okay, so then if they were expecting a fringe shift based on the orbit of
Jack,
the
thank you for the
Earth,
subscription.
then they would have been detecting the orbit of the Earth, just like we just allegedly detect the rotation, right, Bob?
If there was ether, they should have detected a change in the speed of light based on the orbit of Earth. Yes.
But wait,
Now,
you
I've
just
answered that 12
conceded.
different times, and you've asked it 12 different times.
Well, wait,
know
you
what
just
haven't
conceded.
asked.
Well, he's wanting to get the fuck out of it. He don't want to talk about it no more because he knows Witsit's fucking slamming him on this shit. And basically, what he's saying, you hear how he was trying to get around. Does it detect movement? No, it detects light, which would shift due to what? Movement. If you said movement, you're correct. And so, as Einstein stated, it would have indicated, right? Okay.
Austin, was how I detected the motion of Earth in orbit. You don't have that curiosity in your head
because you
you're
won't.
trying, like a dog, you're trying to get on this little bone, and you think
He wants to talk about his shit. See, or I detected the motion, or I proved the orbit of the Earth and shit. You didn't even ask me how I did it. Well, no, we didn't because we haven't gotten off of this yet. You're fucking straw man and shit all over the place, and you have totally misrepresented the fucking experiment. So, you know, you're getting an education. You getting school, bro.
by asking me a dozen times the same question, somehow you're going to get a different answer.
No, it's because
Would
you
like
just
to know how I detected the actual orbit of Earth.
No, you're trying to avoid the actual point here, and so
All right,
what
I'm
you
not going
just
to
said.
answer any more questions on Mickelson Morley. I'm not going to address it. I
Okay,
will
so-
address how my detection of the orbit of the Earth if you would like, but I'm done with this subject. I've already addressed it.
Cool, then I get to recap it, I guess. So I had Bob admit that you can't actually, or that you can detect the curved path or movement of an object using interferometry, like the sagging effect. I said, do you agree you can even do that without the ether? He said, yes, of course, that's what we do. Then he just now said that the only reason that they didn't detect it was because there was no ether. But he actually admitted that even without an ether, you can detect the rotation or motion.
Atomic, thank you, subscription.
The motion of an object in a curved path. So he's just double speaking, and that's why he wants to move on. The actual facts are that they were like, dang, why are we not detecting the curved path of the Earth around the sun? Because we should be able to do that, and we can't. So then Einstein came in, and he changed Newton's theory, which said that the Earth was curving, right? Newton said the Earth was going in an actual curved path around the sun because of the force of gravity. Einstein came in and said, no. If you were on the sun, it would look like the Earth is curved around it. But if you're on the Earth, it's actually going in a straight path. It's free falling in a linear path with a linear speed, a straight line. So that's why we didn't detect it with the interferometry, because on the Earth is not curving. It's actually going straight. Okay, so you cannot just say Mickelson Morley disproved the ether. You have to say, we had to get rid of the ether and then change the orbital mechanics from Newtonian to Einsteinian to try to explain why we did not detect the orbit with the interference pattern. This is just a fact. And for 7 or 8 straight years, anti-fighters have run around and claimed that it disproved the ether and that's all it did, and it had nothing to do with the orbit.
Are you done, Austin?
Do you agree with what I said?
He can't fucking help himself. And that's why I say it's got to be deliberate. It's deliberate. I've watched it every time. I've figured out when they're going to fucking do it too.
Okay, so here's the problem that we run into, and this is characteristic number 4, poor scientific reasoning. Austin is trying to compare a 15 degree per hour rotation, 360 degrees in a single day, with a rotational speed of 1 degree per day. All right. I very clearly said that it does detect rotation, especially on the Earth, and that is the principle behind a laser ring gyro. So my position has unchanged.
Well, your position is contradictory because you're claiming that you can detect the rotation of an object like the Sagnac effect. So you're claiming that the
He's
interferometry.
confabulating the orbit of the Earth with the rotation of the Earth.
What's the difference?
Quite a bit.
Name it.
360 degrees per day, or
But what's-
359 degrees per day.
Okay, but what's the physical difference?
One is many orders of magnitude larger than the other.
Okay, are you saying Michelson-Morley wasn't sensitive enough to detect the orbit?
I don't think that they were, no.
Okay, well, you're incorrect, right? It was known to be over 10 times more sensitive. It was actually
No, you
tested.
keep repeating Einstein, and Einstein was saying that if the ether existed, Michelson-Morley's equipment was more than enough sensitive to detect it. They did not, because the ether does not exist. Ether is a construct of man, like space-time is. The
that is
difference
not-
is Michelson-Morley disproved the existence of ether. Eddington and CERN and LIGO demonstrated
Eddington discarded fucking data that didn't agree with his hypothesis, and the LIGO thing, the injected data. Come on, man.
demonstrated the existence of space-time. So, and the fact that we have to adjust GPS satellite time signals, and we have to adjust the orbit of Mercury with relativistic corrections based on a number of factors, specifically with Mercury, the proximity to the massive sun, that has a relativistic effect.
Okay, so you're just saying patently wrong things. You said that the Michelson-Morley
Well, you're
device
welcome to
wasn't.
try and disprove me wrong.
I am, yeah. You said the Michelson-Morley device wasn't sensitive enough to detect the orbit, and that all Einstein was saying is that if there was an ether, it would have detected it. Now, the actual truth is they actually tested the Michelson-Morley interferometer on other objects, and they proved that it was over 10 times more sensitive than it needed to be to detect it, which means they proved that the interferometer can actually measure the motion.
Do you believe that Michelson-Morley just proved?
See, right in the middle of it every fucking time, man. And this is also so rude as to do that is because it's like, I have no respect for anything that you're saying. So therefore, what I have to say is way more important than you, you know? Yeah. And what is that? It's bugger. So real quick, Jake. Yeah, he's going to do that. And probably some chicken nuggies. LIGO puts its data through a 7-layer convolutional AI network. No shit. I mean, it's just all fucking sorcery, man. Every bit of it. And last night's show should have shown people really what's behind this shit. And what do they say? We will infiltrate the universities. All of this just so that the Bible is discredited. You understand? And that the church having supreme authority, that's where this shit is all born out of, and bringing in this sun cult religion. We're already seeing changes that we never thought would happen within the Catholic Church. They're now accepting things that were henceforth before thought to be reprehensible and sinful. And now they're embracing it and accepting it, you know, and it's multifaceted. The popularity, they get more members and shit, but it all revolves around the church and ultimately the sun.
Prove the orbit of the Earth? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, well, you're wrong.
Okay, but let's make the point here. You claimed it wasn't sensitive enough, but I just proved you are incorrect. They
I'll
proved
leave
it by
up to the
measuring.
audience to decide who has the better, the more reasonable explanation.
Well, actually,
Now,
it's
would you
interesting.
like to know how
Reading the chat
would
just
you like to
proves
know
these
how
people.
I demonstrated the orbit of the Earth.
Well,
He's wanting to get off onto his own little shit. Aren't you interested in what I've done? No, we're not done talking about this shit yet. Then maybe we can get on to what you fucking done with your Chrome Dome, dude.
Well, yeah, like just real fast, bro. It's
No,
very
you've
simple
been,
because
you've had time to deal with that. And I've already told you I'm not going to address it anymore.
Well, there's one more point. There's one more point.
Sat here while you gave your sermon. All right.
Well,
Now
you're just
moving on
denying
to the
reality. You're
next
lying
thing,
to the
Austin.
audience. You're
So
lying to
we
the
can
audience.
move on to the next thing, or we can end it now. Your choice.
Look how hard the chat's coping to claim that he's winning. So what actually happened, right, was you said it wasn't sensitive enough. Wrong. You claimed that it only
This is the
disproved
same
ether.
audience,
Wrong.
Austin, that was calling to bring you up and saying that all the Glovers were afraid of you. But now who are they supporting? What's that? What does W Bob
dude,
mean, Austin?
the globe earthers are the ones that are obviously just spamming it, and it's funny because it's just objective that you lost.
I
that
took the
point,
audience
and that,
from you, Austin.
dude. Okay,
I'll
cool story, bro.
probably get another thousands of followers from this. All right.
I'm not gonna lie, I find you a bit.
That's probably
right?
true, actually.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's kind of cringe, right? So, but it's all good. Just to wrap it up, the other problem with it is,
You know, he was kind of cringe though, right? You know, right on. I have to agree. We only got to suffer for a little bit of this guy.
right, that they had to come in and say, okay, well, yeah, the Earth is orbiting the sun,
Go
but
ahead
you
and
can't
preach some more,
detect it.
Austin. I'll just go on mute. and let you
Dude,
finish.
don't you agree that like some people may just want to kind of understand it, dude? Okay, because you guys misrepresent it. So whether the Earth's a globe or not, you shouldn't have to misrepresent stuff. So it was the biggest thing that ever happened in physics in the last century, dude. It's called the most famous failed experiment ever, right? Because it
Yep.
changed.
Matt, thank you for the
You got
subscription, Matt.
Caleb there, Witsit. You want to move on?
Soup,
to the
thank
next
you.
thing?
F1, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the subscriptions. I appreciate
Yeah, you
y'all.
just got Caleb. Do you want to move on to the next thing?
Well, real fast.
Nope. I'm starting this. I'd like to make a
thank you for the
series on
subscription.
you. I was planning on debating you because you had one of your minions come and challenge me. And I was actually preparing some very, very interesting things that you would have caught you completely off guard. But this was a target of opportunity. I saw you up there. So here I am, and I just took you out. Now, do you want to go to the next subject, or do you want to end it now?
Dude, how creepy does it sound when you say stuff like that? Like, flat Earth is so stupid that I obsessively stalk a flat earther around the internet. That's so weird, but it's all good, brother. So what I'm trying to say is there's a side note just so the audience will know, right? Like this was the
Wait, I don't think that's him tracking around the internet. I think he's just like, it's like the normal, like people disagree on topics, right? They're gonna, one person who's known in the community is gonna then debate, if you hear about them, you haven't debated them yet, then you finally debate them. I don't
debated
think
them
that's
dozens of times.
obsessively.
Parker.
I'm just saying, I don't think that's
Yeah,
necessarily
Witsit and I have
obsessively.
had many talks in the past. We're old friends.
I actually
Matter
said
of
I'm not
fact, if
going
I
to
ever
debate
get
him
out there,
anymore.
I think we'll probably go I'll probably buy he and his wife dinner one night, and we'll have a beer together.
Okay,
But
can I just wrap? Like, I get you want to move on, and that's cool. I'm interested in hearing your claim that you detected the orbit. That's cool. But
Go right ahead.
I just want to make this point real quick. So, like, it was a big deal. It changed all of physics, and that's why we have relativity, right? And the idea is that matter contracts and time slows down. And so when you try to measure the Earth's orbit from the Earth, since the apparatus is contracting just the right amount and time is slowing down just the right amount, that it'll look like the Earth is not moving. Because there should have been a separation between the light beams that showed the Earth was moving, but actually the apparatus contracted and it made it look like the Earth wasn't moving. This is actual official physics of today. You guys believe that matter?
do they call that the Lorentz contraction?
Yes.
Okay, great. Is the Michelson-Morley experiment the only time that's ever been demonstrated?
Well, you guys definitely reify it in other situations, but you guys claim
Okay, so we've demonstrated it with other things.
No,
So
no,
it's
you
not
haven't.
like we made it up to.
no.
It's not like we ad hoc this one.
no, you guys haven't. So you guys claim it's impossible to
Okay.
measure.
Can
I
we
just-
get on? Can we just move on from this?
If-
I'm
if-
really getting tired of this.
Because
Of course you're tired of it. You can't beat it. Yeah, rubber rulers, right? Like they fucking stretch and shit. This is nonsense. This shit right here. Wait till you hear this crap, man.
you know you can't debate it.
Mike, thank you for the subscription.
So basically what they're saying is if there's a ruler, if you're gonna go measure 5 feet, if it's moving, it contracts. But when you go over there with your
I'm aware of it. Let's move on to the next subject, okay?
but it's pretty wild. Most people don't know it. If you go over there with your ruler and try to measure that the wall contracted, your ruler contracted and shrank the same amount. So it'll look like it was the same size, but it contracted. So when you claim that they've actually verified it, that goes against the claim itself. It says you can't verify it from the Earth because whatever you use to measure it will also contract. And then this last thing I'm trying to make, you'll just give me just a second, was that there was an interference pattern detected. It got around 6 kilometers a second, right? So like 1/5 of the predicted value. And Einstein said, oh, that's just instrumental error. It's not real. So what that means is if that is real, it refutes the claim the Earth is orbiting. According to Einstein, his theory of relativity would fall like a house of cards.
All right, so
And that-
so let's examine that. He claimed that it was instrument error, and he's Einstein. All right, he's the guy that literally developed an entire branch of physics.
We all know who fucking Einstein is. How can you not know how Einstein is? This was a puppet of the establishment that always read things. And, you know, he had a great PR campaign, despite the fact that he took his Nobel Prize money, paid off his wife, married his cousin, who already had 2 daughters, and then referred to him as his little harem as he walked around in women's shoes.
So why do you, Austin, feel that Einstein was wrong on that assessment?
Yeah, well, he even admitted that he may be wrong himself. He said, I just can't think of anything else. If it's not instrumental error, then the theory of relativity is wrong, and I can't explain
Okay,
it.
and we've demonstrated the theory of relativity is very right.
Except that it's
now
off
there's
by
going to be
83%.
another theory after this one. It's just not here yet. And someday, you know, the thing that disproves current science is better science in the future. My kids may come up with something.
But you're not using science. Okay? You don't have any this guy.
That may overcome Einstein, but it's a pretty big hill to climb. And you really you have to explain everything that Newton said. You have to explain everything that Einstein said, and then you need to explain more. So
I got you,
sitting down and saying, well, I'm not going to believe it's an instrument error, therefore Einstein's relativity is wrong, is disingenuous at best.
Everything's intrinsically electromagnetic. I can easily replace it.
Yeah,
with
I
way
know.
more
I've heard
accuracy.
that. I've heard that.
I can replace it with way more accuracy because I'm not limited to proportion of mass, so I can explain galaxy rotational speeds and all that. But
of course,
what I'm trying to say, but look, you asked me why I think it's
your
wrong.
Nobel
It's
Prize
because
is waiting for you.
if it's you don't get Nobel Prizes unless you go with the status quo and the consensus. So if you don't have,
you get Nobel Prizes for cutting edge science.
you mean like the guy who won one a few years ago and said there absolutely is an ether unequivocally?
Got no idea what you're talking about.
I'm guessing Frank Wilczek is a quack because he won a Nobel Prize in physics but says there's an ether. But anyway,
Was
the
it
point is,
literature?
what?
Was his Nobel Prize in literature?
No, it's in physics.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so
Was
but
it
real
related
fast,
to the discovery of ether?
no. So
Okay,
it's
I bet you
BT,
like
thank you for the
chocolate
sub.
chunky, Rocky Road ice cream too, but that doesn't mean that, my French vanilla is bad.
Zio, I appreciate the subscription.
All right,
So,
so let's move on to the next subject there, Chief.
okay, but can I answer your question? You said if it's not, or why do I think it's wrong that he said it was instrumental error? The reason is if it's just instrumental error, it would be random, right? And it wouldn't change based on direction, right? Because like the propagation rate of the light is faster east to west, even though it should be c constant in all reference frames according to relativity. It changes east to west. That's why I said, bro,
What's
if
the
that's not
direction of rotation of the Earth?
he said if that's not instrumental error.
What's the direction of the rotation of the Earth, which is a much faster rotation?
It rotates east. Okay.
It
So
rotates from west to east. Okay,
Yeah, it rotates east, I just said that.
could that have had an effect on his equipment, considering that's the entire function of a freaking
No.
laser ring gyro?
no, not according to relativity. You would not have had an
All
effect
right,
on the
well,
speed of light.
So you say. All
Okay,
right,
I'm
so
just
let's
like
go
you.
on to the next
You
subject,
don't want to
Austin.
let me answer the question, and then
No,
it would
let's
have been
go on
over.
to the next subject, Austin.
It,
I'm-
we
I
already
think that
would.
done this
Dude,
one
Bob,
to
to be
death.
fair, Bob, we already would have if you just let me say the 30-second answer to your question.
All right, 30
So-
seconds. I'm going on.
Okay.
All right, I'll give you 30 seconds. I will grant you this. I know, right? He did. He lost that fucking shit. Let's go on to something else. I don't want to talk about this anymore. You're kicking my ass. I'm just going to hand wave dismiss it.
So why do I not agree with instrumental error? Well, that wouldn't change with direction, right? If the instrument doesn't care, like if your clock is messed up and it's a second behind, it doesn't only mess up when you move your hand to the left, right? If an instrument's messed up, it always is messed up. The error stays the same, but it only happens with that specific direction, and it changes with altitude, proving it can't be randomized instrumental error, nor can it be systematic error because it changes with different variables consistently, including the equinoxes and the movement of the sky. According to relativity himself, the test that's been verified over 5,200,000 times by Dayton Miller and has been done in 2020 with millimeter precision, that if that was the case, which has been proven, that relativity falls like a house of cards. So according to Einstein himself, it's been disproved.
Binomal, I appreciate the subscription.
So the Earth's not orbiting. It's been physically, empirically
Seconds there. Let's move
disproven.
on. You can pick one more subject.
That kid might be a little grabbler. You know, he don't know one way or the other what the Earth is. He don't even know where his fucking ass is punched or bored. You know, He's just worried about getting fucking money and playing video games. Probably so he can get some vapes and some chicky nuggies.
Subject that I'll do, or we can end it now. Your choice.
Well, so we just to clarify, you can't prove the Earth is orbiting.
No, you've
You can't-
already had your 30 seconds. You've already
said
had your
that-
30 seconds. We either need to move on.
We
or
are.
I've got crap to do
We're-
tonight.
Okay. I mean, we're moving on. Yeah, like you can't prove the orbit of the Earth. You can't
Okay,
prove the
okay,
rotation.
so you had your 30 seconds. Now you want another 30 seconds? We'll give you another 30 seconds.
All right, then shut the fuck up, Bob.
Here to
Talk.
accommodate
Prick.
your needs.
Okay. So there's an observation on the Earth where, based on where the sun sets, 2 times a year, I think it's in September and February, you can see Canigou Mountain from 163 miles away, from just 1,000 feet up. So based on the globe Earth math, there should be over 10,000 feet of Earth curvature blocking those mountains, right? And so that means the top of the mountain should be more than 1,000 feet below the curve of the Earth. And every year on those days when the sun sets behind it, you can see the silhouette of the mountains. So you can't see the mountains all day until the sun sets behind you. You can see the silhouette of it. So
Are
can
you
tell me?
seriously going to this 5-year-old 24/7 flat Earth Discord argument?
Yeah, because nobody has successfully explained how a shadow could be refracted upward.
It's been disproven 12,000 times, including about 4 times by me.
No, you're actually talking about a different observation, the infrared observations of
No, I'm
Canigou.
not. I'm talking about the original Canigou Mountain observation where you can see it in the sunset twice a year because the sun's right behind it. Now, obviously, that's from 1,000 feet of elevation is your observer height on that. And you're only seeing the top 1,000 feet or so of a 9,000-foot mountain. You conveniently forget that you can't see 8,000 feet of the mountain. And you conveniently forget it's obviously possible, looking at Walter Bisslin's advanced Earth curve calculator, especially if you put standard refraction in. So I'm not even going to bother with that. That argument is so old and has been disproven so many times. I'm embarrassed for you to even try and bring that up with me.
Ooh, stand back. And he's not going to like it because you'll see this guy keeps interrupting Witsit every fucking point he tries to make, man. I swear to God. This kid, somebody was saying, Bill Wall was saying, did the kid watch it live at the time? Yeah, he was hosting. Okay. He was hosting. This was on TikTok. Okay. So this is one of these TikTok people. And down here in this little square, that's Witsit. And here, I mean, the main thing going on is minimized, and this kid's face is over here in the thing. I think he should have like done this backwards, had these 2 squares bigger and have him down here in the corner doing whatever nonsense. So what I believe is going on here is he just is, whatever the current thing is. He figured there's a lot of interest in this right now. And so that's what was going on. I'm not really sure what the prelude to this happening was. I found out about it from Lucky Haskins. I guess he watched it, and then I went over to it and I saw it, and I was like, oh my God, man. These guys are so, and this guy right here, all he did before him was Dr. Hasselblad, and all he did was swap. I mean, it was like they didn't even swap people. It was the same. It was like they went to the same school of being a shit, I don't know.
Okay, so we've taken away the orbit and the rotation of motion. Now I'm taking away the curvature because you can claim it's been disproven, but you're wrong. It isn't. There isn't 9,000 feet of the mountain it's missing, or 8,000 feet. That's patently wrong. You can do an angular assessment of the mountain and realize that there's much more of the mountain than that. That's patently wrong. And of course, you can't just claim it's refraction, which I guess magically the atmosphere conspires with the Earth to trick everyone into thinking it's flat on those 2 days a year. It just so happens there always happens to be just the right amount of refraction on those 2 days a year, predictably, that people travel from all around the world to see this.
Jay.
Coincidentally, they're actually
Jay.
traveling around the world to see something
Oh.
that isn't there. It's just an illusion. And the silhouette, meaning the outline, the shadow of a mountain, is refracted up to conspire with the world to make you think it's flat. Is that your claim, Bob? Yeah, I don't think you were ready for that.
Come on,
Bob,
Bob.
are you there? Maybe he left or something. I
No,
don't
it's
know.
another tactic. It's another tactic to delay, get people to off of what he just said and the question he just asked, so that this fucking guy can come back and say, "Oh, I was having technical shit going on. What now?" or something like that. You know, that's how they always do. Listen, they're the most dishonest fucking people I've ever seen in my life, bro.
He's gonna have a story as to why something coincidentally happened.
No, I'm right here.
Okay.
Do you not hear me?
No, we
I
did.
hear you now.
No,
You were
it's a
muted.
standard. It's a normal expected finding on a globe. That's why it's so predictable. Standard refraction is standard refraction. It's the same reason that
Shadows don't refract, dickwad.
we see Chicago from 180 foot up.
Refraction is caused by light. Shadows are the deprivation, it's the privation of light.
Observer height across Lake Michigan. We see exactly what we're
Oh.
supposed to see on a globe.
But then why
What
don't
you
we?
guys conveniently, Jay Tolan Media One with Mount San Jacinto misidentified a missing 6,000
Bro, why are
feet
you-
of that mountain.
Why are you bringing up other people?
Because it's the same thing. It's the classic, I see too far flat earth image that proves the globe.
No, no, you
never
want.
address where the bottom of that mountain is. You never
I already-
address the fact that we see exactly what the curve calculator says we should see.
No, we literally don't. The curve calculator says that the entire mountain
No,
should
it
be
does not.
blocked. Yes, it does. It
Because
says there
I've
should
done
be.
it.
It says that there should be 10,000 feet of curvature.
No.
Mountains, 9,000. Do you want to bet?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
What do you want to bet?
I'll bet you dinner if I'm ever out in your neck of the woods.
Dude, I don't want to hang out with you, man. So it's very simple, bro. Like it's supposed to be behind a curve. If I
Oh no, dude, I want to hang out with you, dude. That was beautiful, Austin. I love it.
was to believe in the globe, right? I'd be like, okay, yeah, it's refraction, and I would have to say it's standard refraction. It
wanna
must
hang out
happen
with
pretty
you,
much
man.
every day. I get that, right? You
It
can believe
happens
that if you
every
want
year. Yeah, absolutely.
it has to happen every day.
Why do you see it on those particular days?
Because that's what I'm saying. The reason you see is because the sun sets behind the mountains on those days.
Right.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to claim that amount of refraction happens every day because it would be like
It's a standard amount of refraction, 6.5 degrees per kilometer lapse rate. That's normal. We measure that twice a day, every
Listen,
day.
hold
with
on.
thousands of airplanes.
Within reason. It's not going to take something that's like right here and refract it. So, you know, look at my hand. Okay. It's not going to see my finger on the side of this curve. It's not going to take something that's here and make it go like this. Okay. It's not going to do that. Refraction is not going to take something like this and make it go like this. This guy is so full of fucking shit. I don't even know, man. You're an absolute clown, Sean.
Okay.
You're an absolute clown. Dude, what the fuck, man? Who has hair on their fucking nose, dude? Nobody. You're the only person I've ever seen that. Go shave that shit or something.
We have a balloon that goes up from Gaylord, not far from me.
Yeah.
And it goes up, and you can track the temperature lapse rate and the pressure all the way up to 50,000 feet.
Okay, yeah.
And you
And
can
so,
track the actual path of the balloon.
and so just to clarify here as the side note, do you agree that if we take your equation from Walter Bislin, which is built upon Andrew Thomas Young, that refraction equation, if we take it and we send out our own balloons or our drones, and then we get all the measurements, that we should be able to plug it into the equation and then be able to precisely and exactly predict what
See?
we're going to see in the
Characteristic
distance?
number 5, inappropriate expectation.
2 days ago, Daniel, here he is with his little thing. He's trying to be like McToon with his little lists and bullshit. This is the kind of kid. This is the kid that you wanted to put his head in a toilet in school. I guarantee it.
Of perfection from science.
Okay,
Because
whatever.
you may not necessarily on a weather balloon measure humidity, for example, which does have a slight effect on it.
You
as
can
well.
measure. You can
It will
absolutely
be
measure
very
humidity.
close. Yes, it will be
You
very close.
Well, normally you guys claim humidity is basically irrelevant, and of course you actually can measure
It
humidity.
has to
on
do
the
with air
weather.
density.
So can you answer the question? So if we measure those variables before we make our observation, we should be able to plug it into the equation.
You will
then
get a
we
very
should be able to-
accurate prediction from it. Yes.
Right. So, and you agree that if you don't, it falsifies your refraction claim, thus the globe?
No, you will get an accurate prediction from it, which has an error bar on it.
So, but if it isn't an accurate prediction, then it would falsify your refraction claim and then the globe.
Refraction is not falsifiable. It's already been tested. You can test.
Dude, you just got done saying within an error bar. How big is this error bar that you're talking about? Okay. If there's an error bar, it means it's not fucking exact, doesn't it? If it's within a margin, it's not exact, right? Is 4 3/4 inch 5 inches? No. And neither is 5 1/4 inches. No. They are approximately around 5 inches, but the only thing that is 5 inches is 5 inches. Okay. Exact measurements, not within a margin of error. And then you say this other nonsense, because let's take a look at the distance you're looking through too. Now, you're looking through an extremely far distance, which is apt to have a bunch of different temperature variances within that long distance, different amounts of moisture, the whole 9 yards. But the bottom line is, Screwball Bob, is you're not going to lift an entire fucking image up so that it looks like the world's flat. That's stupid. That's hopeful.
Test refraction directly.
No,
you
you're
don't even
supposed
have to use the lapse rate.
I'm not saying
all you need is a red and a green laser and a clear line of sight. And what you do is you measure the difference in refraction between the red laser and the green laser, and that tells you the refraction between the 2 points, between the emitter and the target.
I'm not saying like falsify refraction as a phenomena.
This kid's sitting there with his little Snuggie blanket. Mom's probably microwaving a fucking Hot Pocket for him. What the fuck, dude?
know that exists, of course. We have snow, all you can verify. I'm saying your specific rate of refraction that you're claiming just always makes the globe Earth look like it's flat.
It doesn't make the globe Earth look like it's flat. It makes it look like a slightly larger sphere.
Well, 15 to 20% on average, and sometimes like 3, 4, 5.
All right. What is how does refraction affect our line of sight for distant targets, Austin? I'll give you the two choices.
No, I know what you believe.
It's some weird mathematical formula, or two, it has the effect of making the Earth appear larger than it is. It increases the radius of the Earth, the apparent radius of the Earth.
What? No, I don't.
It doesn't increase it.
Dichotomy.
Okay, well, then, quite frankly, what refraction does is it has the effect. The easiest way to measure refraction, or to take into account refraction on a long distance sighting like a curve calculator, is to use it to vary the apparent radius of the Earth. That's why we talk about standard refraction being 7/6 R.
Okay, so do you? Yeah, I get it.
The radius of the Earth, the apparent radius of the Earth.
I laugh every time they say that stupid shit. It only looks like it's bigger because of refraction. Yeah, that's what it is. But they can't understand the magnifying effect of the same goddamn thing when they're looking through this medium of moisture and the sun appears like this. Okay. What the fuck, man? Just talk about picking and choosing what you really want to look at. Man, oh man, oh man.
Radius, it increases the apparent radius.
Right. So everyone understands what he's saying is that when you go out on the Earth and you look at it, they say that on average, it looks like it's 15 to 20% bigger than the globe predicts that it is. And so then they call that standard refraction. Now, what I'm saying is, do you agree that shadows cannot refract?
I've got no freaking idea.
Well, don't you agree shadow is the absence of light?
Yeah.
Don't you agree that refraction is about light?
Okay, well, if there's a shadow on an object, like a mountain, I would agree that's because the mountain is refracted, the shadow will be refracted with it.
So can you show a test that proves that? Because of course, shadows are absence of light. So
okay, does the shadow occur on a point on the mountain?
Does the shadow occur on, the shadow is the silhouette of
Okay,
the
but a
mountain.
shadow of one mountain on another mountain, for example,
That's not what we're
appears
talking
at a
about.
certain point on that mountain.
Talking about a silhouette of the mountain.
Hey, Darth Vader.
Okay, well, I don't know how it would handle silhouettes.
Right. So
All right.
you agree you just blindly believe it because you have to for the globe to be true?
No, I agree with it because refraction is a thing, and our standard refraction is a very accurate estimation of what that refraction is.
I agree that
Now,
refraction.
there are variations to it, of course. You can get temperature inversions. You can get layers of the atmosphere. You know, standard refraction is 6.5 degrees per kilometer. If you have a 2-degree change in a meter, all right, what's that in what's the lapse rate per kilometer in that 1 meter layer of air?
I'm not sure why you
It's
always
20 or
like,
30. It's 20 or 30 degrees, which is much higher than the standard lapse rate.
okay, but
As
why
a
do you
result,
always
that one layer will give you a vastly different refraction index than the overall column of air up to a kilometer would give you.
But why do you always take the point you're supposed to be responding to and then just transition into some other completely unrelated point and then start asking me questions as a gotcha quiz or something?
Well,
like you
because
just claimed that shadows
I
can
understand
refract.
the
Bob.
point being made, Austin, and I'm using this as an example of what I'm saying. So, for example, when you look at the Black Swan oil rigs, you notice that the bottom of the oil rigs is not distorted. There is a very specific point on that oil rig that has massive distortion, and then it's back to a little bit more normal distortion again. That's why the flame boom looks like an S.
That's a red herring fallacy. We're talking
That's
about
not a red herring fallacy. That's
then why won't you let me explain why it is one? Then why wouldn't you let me explain why it is one if you're so sure? So it's a red herring.
Okay, well, Austin, I'll tell you
Oh,
what.
my God.
Let's just go one step further. I don't give a rat's ass about your claim of refraction or of logical fallacy, because no scientific observation or theory has ever been disproven simply by calling it a fallacy. There's
You're
something
right.
called a fallacy, which means you can come to the logical correct conclusion, even if your argument is fallacious.
That's
So
right.
it is
Yeah.
not disproving it. You need to disprove it with actual data.
Okay, now I never said that the fallacy disproves the conclusion. What it does is it invalidates your
Then
argument.
just leave your claims of logical fallacy at the door.
No, that's not how debate works, because what it shows is that your argument is invalid
I'm not
and can be
debating you,
dismissed.
Austin.
This is
I'm
literally
not
a debate.
debating you, Austin. I'm explaining facts to you.
So you're
And
admitting
I'm
that you do
trying to
use.
correct your
I'm explaining facts. I'm telling you why you're wrong. This guy's really full of himself. Every time that Austin has gone to explain it, you shut him down and start dish galloping more questions onto it. Fucking horseshit.
misconceptions.
So you just admit and embrace that you use fallacies and you think it's cool and it
I don't
makes you-
really give a rat's behind about your claim of fallacies.
Do you agree that a fallacious argument is an invalid one?
No, I do not, because
Wow.
it will not necessarily lead to an invalid conclusion, which
I
is
didn't
what
say that.
science is concerned with.
I didn't say that it leads to an invalid
All
conclusion.
right, so it's a pointless matter. This is not a formal debate. This is not an exercise in formal logic.
Yikes, bro.
You are sitting down, shouting fallacy, thinking that somehow that disproves my point. It does
No,
not.
actually, no. What I was trying to do was point out that it was a red herring, which is something that creates the illusion as if it's related, but it's actually a tactic used to divert. When I was actually
They're
talking
absolutely
about,
related, Austin. So your use of the term red
Oh.
herring is incorrect.
I explained that it appears to be somewhat related, but it's actually tactically implemented to divert away from the specific
Yep.
point. The reason that was a red herring is we were talking about shadows, and can
I
shadows
already
refract?
answered your question on shadows. I don't know.
Wow, hold up. Look at there what M-Ball said. So, ain't that cool? Everybody, that right there is a moment in time. M-Ball said that Austin is so correct. He's the best. That's pretty cool, man.
Okay, so we were talking about shadows and can they refract?
And
You
we
started
do-
talking.
I answered that. I said I didn't know, and we moved beyond it. Then you went into refraction, and I'm schooling you on refraction.
Okay, but it should be simple to know.
He's schooling him on refraction? What?
Because refraction is, of course, light in relation to different mediums, right? Or different densities of mediums, right? So that's how light, quote unquote, travels through different mediums. So, of course, a shadow is the absence of light. It's a privation. It's nothing in and of itself. It's just the absence of light. So, of course, that can't apply to refraction, cannot apply to a shadow because it isn't light, Bob.
How do you know the shadow's there?
We actually see the silhouette of the mountain, which is
Okay,
a
so
shadow.
we're seeing something that is real and does reflect light, correct? Are we seeing it based on reflected light?
No,
Are
because
we
we
seeing
don't.
it because we have photoreceptors in our eyes that determine that that is an object?
No, we do not see the mountain because of reflected light. What we see is the silhouette of the mountain. For
Okay, is
anyone that
that
doesn't know,
silhouette at the position of the mountain?
yes. And the
How do
problem
we know
is
where the position of the mountain is?
because
do
we
we
observed
not-
on it.
Okay, can we tell the position of the mountain in the dark where we can't see anything and we don't have any light?
We're not in the dark. There is sunlight, but
Okay.
this mountain is
So
just
you
a
don't understand
silhouette.
why that invalidates your position. So go ahead.
We see the silhouette of the mountain with the sun as the backdrop. Right now, the way that we know.
Hold on, wait. Now, wait a second. Derp. Franz, look, he's not being sarcastic. You have to be smart to understand how to use sarcasm. He's serious. He's serious.
That we're not seeing the mountain because of reflected light is because you don't see the mountain at all until the sun gets behind it.
Oh my God.
So we're just seeing the shadow of the mountain, which means, of course, the shadow itself cannot be lifted up and refracted.
But we do see
because,
the light that's around the shadow though, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
on
and is that light refracted?
You can claim it is refracted, yes, but that doesn't change the
Austin, this
fact
has
that
been a little slice of heaven. I hope somebody records this and has sent it to me.
Me too, dude. You're probably
All right.
gonna go
Hey, can we,
viral.
look, it's 10 o'clock at night. We've been at this for quite some time. It actually has been a joy to speak with you, Austin. If it's all right with the host, why don't we schedule another time to get together?
Yeah, DM me about that.
Well, do it somewhere else though, because this guy sucks.
I would say just follow me back as well, and we
All
can
right.
set up like a further date for that.
All right.
All right,
But I do want to end up with one thing, Austin, the one question that you never asked, which I thought you would have really been interested in, and that is how did I detect the orbit of the Earth? I set up something called a meteor fence, which involves forward scatter of radio waves. So I have a Yagi antenna on top of my house, an old TV antenna, and I point it at channel 2 in western Nebraska, which is some 1,500 kilometers from me. Obviously, I cannot receive the signal from that TV station because of, guess what? The curve of the Earth. However,
Okay,
when a meteor
sure.
comes 80 kilometers overhead and leaves an ionized trail behind it, the signal bounces
Well, first off, you got to know that it's 80 kilometers over your head. Okay. You've assumed something right off the bat.
off that trail and comes down and gives me a detection on my radio here. And by looking at the time, at the number of detections per hour, what happens is I find that I get more detections between 12 midnight and 12 noon than I get between 12 noon and 12 midnight. And the reason for that is that you get more bugs on the windshield of your car than you get on the back window. So the leading edge of the Earth in our orbit
No, man, he said he bounced it off of the streak that the meteor left. That's what he said.
is literally running into more meteors than the trailing edge is. And as a result of that, that is an indirect measure of the direction of our orbit around the sun. So we can talk about that more next time if you would like. I'll even show you the equipment, and then we'll talk about how I tracked the ISS and determined its speed and location and altitude.
Yeah, I've done that. Who cares?
All right. So thank you very much for having me, Parker. I do appreciate it, Whitsitt. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to our next little chat. You are a worthy opponent. and I enjoy having a discussion with you.
I thoroughly enjoyed getting my ass handed to me by you, Austin Whitsitt. Even though I tried to interrupt every fucking thing you said, people with a mind to understand listened. Dave, you should debate Bob so we can witness him rage quit. Oh my God, yeah, he would quickly.
All right, man. Nice talking to you guys. The Earth is stationary plane, my guy. It's okay. Don't make it weird. All right. Much love.
Much love, much love. Peace out.
So that was pretty much it. I thought it was an interesting way to show, because the other guy at the beginning, this Dr. Hasselblad, he was just as fucking insufferable, man. It was almost like they're the same demon, you know? That's crazy. That's crazy. How they get always with the interruption, always at strategic points too, always at strategic parts too. Right when you're getting to the fucking point, they come in and blather about some shit, start asking a question about something that ain't even what you're on. That's their whole fucking, that's the only way they can even perceive a win. That's it. That's the only thing they've got. Mockery, fake space. And I'm going to add censorship. I'm going to add censorship to that, because that is a form of censoring somebody from getting their point out. We know that the social medias and the alphabet agencies, they definitely suppress this information. And that's why we're shadow banned. This is why we don't come up in searches. This is why they're continuously fucking with our numbers and unsubscribing people that, they've been subscribed. They didn't unsubscribe. They go, hey, I was subscribed and now I'm not, and shit like that. So take that time to go through to your favorite channels and make sure that you are indeed subscribed, because this is a devious world we live in, full of deception. And as we expose the tricks of the magicians, we have to expect a lot of fallout from the very institutions that are trying to shut us down. So I hope y'all take that into consideration. We'll be back here. What is today? Today is Tuesday. Now it's Wednesday. Well, we'll probably be back tomorrow night. We'll see what's going on. We were going to cover the McToon thing, but obviously there again, something happened. And I don't know, it just kind of goes along with a theory that I have. McToon got, in my opinion, overly upset over something this other guy said before the debate ever started, and he flew off the handle and said that he was not going to debate that guy at all. He wouldn't even want to look at him or talk to him or anything. Anyway, his something involving a video, and I don't know if it was a video McToon has or whatever, but the dude said something about a kid being in handcuffs, and it was kind of Pizzagate-ish, Okay. McToon just fucking lost his mind on it. And they weren't even on the show yet. But his protest to me was really way over the top than what it should be. Really, really way over the top. But in any case, it just kind of goes, I've had a theory for a while, and I think it's, I'm seeing more and more signs that I'm on the right track with it, as far as these Globers are concerned. And I'm not talking about everybody that thinks the Earth is a globe. I'm talking about these people that go all over with McToon, this Bob guy, Dr. Hasselblad, what have you. These guys are something else. And I don't know, man. Something in my gut. Just more and more that I see just kind of confirms my suspicions. That's all I got on that. So anyway, I'll probably be back tomorrow night. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell notification. I want to thank everybody for showing up and participating. If you hit that thumbs up, it definitely helps the algorithm. We'll set up a show tomorrow. I'd like to go into maybe a little more depth on the Jesuit deception within the pushing of this Egyptian religion of sun worship that seems to be prevalent in this globe belief. And I think that's a really good thread to pull on. It really is, because it comes down to the fundamental deception behind everything. And it ties in even with the Christians. And so Satan had deceived all the earth, Yeah. I mean, if you've been lied to about when you are, who you are, and where you are, well, that's a mind fucker, right? Well, you have. So there's a big wad of thread and it needs to be unraveled, man. So that's what we're going to do here. At least we're going to try, and we're going to have fun while we're doing it too, because we don't fear things. Fear is false emotion appearing real. And it doesn't do you any good at all. You can't think constructively. And once you realize who you are, where you are, and approximately when you are, you become a little bit freer. And as I always say, if you free your mind, your ass is sure to follow. So until next time, don't forget the Lord loves a working man. Don't trust Whitey. See a doctor and get rid of him, because he'll probably kill you. We'll see you the next time here on Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind. Good night.